All right, we're back. Episode number, Joseph.
50, baby. 50.
Georgie, get off your damn phone.
50.
This isn't...
50? 50.
We've been here for an hour and a half already trying to get this thing started, and Georgie decides he wants to be on his phone as the episode begins.
Breaking news.
Sending a tweet.
Breaking news. We're on episode 50.
Guys.
This man doesn't even listen to his own podcast.
We are halfway to 100.
Yeah, I think that deserves a like, a subscription, a follow, whatever. Go on our social media channels. Joe will be pointing towards where they will be on the screen, which they never are. But everything is at the NGW Podcast. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. No, I'm just kidding. But that's it. Go follow.
Why do you finding me? Because I have short shorts on.
Georgie's got the short shorts for episode 50.
No.
Can we get a zoom in on that?
They're long.
Do you want me to move the camera up or down a little bit?
They're good. They're
You
long.
all right? So this is episode 50, which is a huge episode because we're halfway to 100, as you guys already stated. I looked up the stats at the beginning. You guys remember we were on like episode
You're not
like
the
20 or
stats
something.
guy.
I'm not the stats guy, but I looked it up at the beginning when we were on like episode 20 or something like that. And I said once we get to a certain amount of views per episode, we're officially in like the top 50% of all podcasters in the world. I think we're pretty close to that. I think if we haven't hit it yet, we're pretty close to being in the top 50% of podcasters. Can we get into the top 20%?
If you guys can't tell, Javi doesn't set the bar too high for us. As long as we're not terrible and in the top half of all podcasters, that's where we're going. No, I'm just kidding. But this is exciting, man. It's exciting. Also at 110 subscribers.
No. What kind of a stat guy are you?
Well, sorry, 111. 111.
Is it 112?
No, we lost one.
We're at 111, I think. Damn. We were never at 112. I never said 112.
Dun, 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 dun.
I don't know.
Well,
But-
the top 50 and top 20 conversation reminds me of a 3-hour trip we took to Columbus, and somebody was talking about back
we're
home.
going to get into that.
man.
We're going to get into that. But before that, let's make sure we do the usual stuff. The Fantasy Premier League has already started. You can still join our league, I believe, right, Joe? You can join our league. Can you join our league still?
Yep.
Yeah, you can still join our league.
Link is still live. We are up almost 200 people. So join.
Yeah.
Join.
We'll have the link for that and the invite code in the description below. And we will have some prizes for some winners. Georgie, what are the prizes?
First place gets a jersey of their favorite team. So it doesn't have to be favorite
So you would get an Arsenal jersey if you win.
Yes. Hell no. Second place and third place get a Liquid Football jersey or training top or zip, whatever you want from the website.
We'll get creative.
And then anything from the Champion Grind website. So top 3 are for sure getting that. And then maybe we're going to try and figure something out for throughout the year to keep it entertaining, kind of.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Make sure you join us. That'll be fun. There's a lot of people in there already. Okay. Shout-outs. Anybody got any shout-outs? Georgie, back to you. Nothing? This guy is... A lot of people have been asking Georgie for a shout-out, and he's like,
Nobody's
I don't do that. Don't disrespect me like that. What about you, Joe? What do we got?
I will shout out my daughter, Sloan. She has 4 soccer games this weekend. Her season also kicks off. And when you're 5 years old, you can just play 4 games in 2 days.
Yeah. I saw her. I thought I saw her press conference talking about it's too many games.
Yeah. She has complained. She went running this morning with Allie, and then she came home complaining that her ankle hurts from all the running she's been doing in preseason.
Yeah. Well, they're overworked. The schedule, whoever's needs to talk to the FA, whoever's in charge of the scheduling needs to sort it out. These kids cannot be pushed 4 games in a weekend or whatever. Unbelievable.
It is
Craziness.
unbelievable.
All right. Do I have any shout outs? No, I don't have any shout outs. Sorry. No shout outs this time around. Is there a pre-cap today, Joe?
Oh, who's on their phone now?
Unbelievable. These guys.
I'm getting the pre-cap ready for you.
Episode 50, people.
So, I mean,
This is because we made it. We're good now. We're done, right?
we're in the top.
Oh, you want me to do the pre-cap?
No, I didn't write a pre-cap down this time. It's episode 50.
I was finalizing my one section that I was given, so thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have a pre-cap today, so you're not getting your own section.
Oh, the sections, we're not going to make it there.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. You'll get your section.
If you are currently listening to this episode and you've listened to the first 49 of our episodes and you're wondering why has it all fallen off the rails on episode 50, I have no
We're not
idea.
talking about soccer, football today. We're talking about tennis. So
First of all, before we talk about tennis,
I don't even think you know the
Georgie,
rules of tennis.
before we talk about tennis,
I'm 5-0 against Javi on tennis. What do you mean?
Oh, for real?
that's a big accomplishment. And I was
Was
playing
that before or
with,
after
that was
he popped his
during the
Achilles?
torn Achilles phase. As soon as we got to episode 50, Georgie walked in here today into the studio and asked for the makeup. He was wondering where the makeup section was.
That's completely false. I asked for hair treatment.
Hair
Yeah.
and makeup. Sorry, hair and makeup.
Yes, that's
Hair and
different.
makeup.
That's a bit different. That's fair.
By the way, did you guys know I did a commercial once? No big deal. There was hair and makeup. The lady with the little brushes that would come in between sets. It was like makeup. I had a trailer. No big deal.
I think you have told us the story. What was it for, though? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know. I've heard it at least
It's
100
a pretty
times
big
by now.
brand called Toyota. You might have heard of it. No big deal.
Hmm.
Have you heard of it?
No, never heard of it. Well,
Anyways.
I'm interested to. Never mind. Don't. No,
They had me
I'm
drive
not
the truck.
interested. I don't know why I said. I don't know why those words came out of
First
my mouth.
scene.
I didn't mean
I'll
it.
explain it to the people. First scene. I drive the Toyota
It's a
truck.
Toyota movie. First scene.
Toyota truck. And I didn't stop fully on the stop sign. So I had to redo the scene.
Fired.
They're like, it's a car commercial. Like you have to fully abide by the laws of the road or whatever. I was
Can we
"Come
get
on, man,
someone
nobody does.
on?"
I'm just trying to make it realistic. Come on, let me put my own improvisation into this. All right. Anyway, there'll be some more times to
Javi
talk
got
about the
arrested
commercial.
shooting
No
a
big deal.
car commercial.
It was actually legit. It's crazy how much budget these people have to do things. Like there was the food table with like just random stuff throughout the day. I did have two people, Joe, just letting you know. I had two people who were with me the whole day called PAs. I think it stands for production assistant. And
Or
there's a bunch
personal
of different,
assistant.
there's a different production assistants for all sorts of stuff, right?
You had two just for you?
I had two. And so I asked them, I'm like, so what's your job? Like, not to be disrespectful, but I just wanted to know. They're like, we're in charge of taking care of the talent. And I was like, oh, that's me. They're like, yeah, you're the talent. So like they'd have like little radios, right? They'd have little radios and they'd be like, who's bringing over the talent to stage, blah, 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 whatever. And then they'd be like, oh yeah, we're bringing them over. So I was the talent. Anyway, I digress.
How long
So I told
ago
them, I was like,
this?
this was in 2019, I believe, 2018.
Okay. Did the commercial ever air?
It did. I'll show it to you later. I'll show it to you after this. It's on my
Okay.
Facebook.
Of course it is.
But anyway, I digress once again. So I asked them, I was like, what's your job? And they're like, just take care of the talent. I was like, so what, they're like, anything that you want to be happy and to be ready for this commercial, we can get. And I was like, so what do people usually like? Oh, people ask us to get them like a Starbucks or whatever. And I was like, so if I told you right now to just go and get me like a specific thing at Starbucks, they're like, yeah, we would go get it. That's our job. So guess what I made them do?
Go to Starbucks to get something that you won't drink because you don't drink coffee?
No, I was nice. I didn't actually make them do anything. I didn't actually make them go anywhere. They just picked me up and took me to like different parts of the set and stuff like that. But anyway, I'll show. Maybe I don't know. I could put the commercial in here somewhere or something. No, I can't. If you guys want to see it, let me know. Comment down below. I know everybody wants to see it. Georgie wants to see it. Georgie, you want to see it for the 5th time?
I think I'm good. I think I remember step by step exactly what happens.
All right. So Premier League, the season has kicked off. We are officially in season. I think that deserves a clap. Okay, back to me. Manchester United played Fulham. Georgie and I just did a live. We will do a lot more lives as the season goes on whenever we can all get together and sort this out. Georgie, give us your thoughts on the game. Just a quick little summary here.
I mean, it was a really good game. I actually, at one point, I did think it's going to end 0-0, just because both teams were sloppy at times, plenty of shots. It just felt like after so many chances, especially with Bruno missing 2 or 3 one-on-ones, that it was just meant to be a 0-0 game and that Leno was going to have the game of his life in the first game of the season. A few chances in the first half for Fulham, especially on the counter. Adama Traore, nobody can catch him the first 10 minutes and then disappears for the rest of the game for the most part. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty fair result. I thought Man United played better overall in the grand scheme of things. However, there were 2 or 3 counterattacks that I thought Fulham, especially with, who was it, Pereira.
Mm-hmm.
He should have done a lot better when it was on the counter. It was him and Iwobi against Maguire, and then he just passed it right to Maguire instead of getting around to Iwobi to go one-on-one against Onana. So chances on both sides, pretty sloppy at times. It's completely normal for a first season game, just until players get back into the groove and stuff like that. But 1-0 Man United win, and they are on first place for now, and then
Yep.
relegation battle by next week. So
So as I was going to tell you, Joe, are you scared? I know it's week 1, but are you scared that Manchester United is going to win the league with this result? As an Arsenal fan, are you scared?
No, I'm not. I will say, I guess if I was a Manchester United fan, I'd be excited because that was one of the best games I feel like attacking wise they've put out in a while in terms of chances created. I know obviously they only scored the 1 goal, but no, I don't think that they have the depth needed to win the league. I don't think they have the experience needed to win the league. I think that they could for sure battle for top 4 and probably will finish in the top 4 spots, assuming no crazy injuries. But it's a good stepping stone, I would say, for them. But let's see how it goes as the season progresses, because if they give up those same chances to a more clinical team, I think they very easily could have lost that game 2-3 by 2 or 3 goals. So Onana did make a few good saves as well.
For sure. I think if you're a Manchester United fan, you would probably be pretty happy with how they played in terms of like the style, not necessarily the performance, because I think it could have been a little bit better. They were a little shaky at the back, some of the counterattacks that they gave up, but it was an entertaining match. And typically you don't associate Manchester United with entertainment, especially not last season at all, right? Nobody wanted to watch Manchester United. It was very boring to watch. So as a Manchester United fan, you should be happy about that, and you should be happy about the fact that you made signings. That was a big one because they were actually pretty active in the transfer window. Xerxes, Muzasi, who else came on? De Ligt. Was there one more that came on or played? I think that was it, right? But all 3 played, and Muzasi had a good game, I thought, and Xerxes scored the game winner. So, boom.
On a great
paid
finish.
off. Yeah, on a very good finish.
Tidy finish.
So I would be happy if I was Manchester United, but it is very early, and next week you will be in the relegation battle once again, as usual. Premier League. Hold on. Before I move on from Manchester United, though, this is the thing that you should not be happy about is their medical team. Shambles. Georgie, walk us through the whole Lenny Yoro thing.
Oh, God, where did I even start? So, for the most part, everybody knows about Yoro going to Manchester United. He's out now until January. Now reports are saying it. First, it was supposed to be 2 months. Now it's until January. So it's a lot more serious than first thought. And then in the past day or so, reports came out that he's had this issue. He had it during the medical. Manchester United knew about it. Still signed him, obviously. They probably think, you know what? He's a generational talent. We view him as somebody that's going to stay here for the next 5 to 10 years. As their center back, captain, future of the club. So you sign him, which is completely fine. It's kind of normal, like to take, if it's not something way too serious, then you take a chance and you're like, okay, he's going to recover. The problem I have with it is, why would you play him if you know he has the issue? So they play him in the first preseason game, like 2 days after he signs, 3 days later, whatever it was. He comes, plays in that game, and then he gets injured. And now he's out for like 5 months. I don't understand why. You know there's a problem, you sign him, cool. But then you play him in a game without doing any further procedure in like terms of like examinations to see if he's fit to play, if whatever you sign the medical is like healed and all that stuff. They play him and he gets injured. Now he's out for 5-6 months, and I don't want to say your marquee signing, but kind of it is $60 million for an 18-year-old, and getting a metatarsal issue this early on in his career. Who knows, like, what can happen in the future? But that's the whole thing is just crazy to me, how a team with so much money, so many things available to them, just lets a player that's already injured play and get hurt.
And the other thing is, I think the time frame, they got really lucky with the time frame, because it's the amount of time that he's going to be out is not severe enough to where they have to sign someone else, because they said they're not going to sign anyone else in that position, so they'll just wait until he comes back.
Well, they signed De Ligt.
Well, they signed De Ligt. That's true, but I don't think they signed De Ligt. Did they sign De Ligt because of the injury, or did they sign De Ligt because they were already thinking about signing De Ligt anyway?
I think they were going to sign him, but like I
think that just
they pushed it a little
bit
further of like, we have to get him.
But imagine if he was like, if it was something as serious as 8 to 10 months out, where there's like, okay, now we really have to get somebody else to replace him specifically because of the injury. But that just doesn't make any sense to me as a medical team. And I wonder if also it was partly his fault, because you're coming to a new club, you're very excited. Everyone sees you as, like you said, generational talent. So when they ask you, how are you feeling, which is how they get a lot of, an idea of where the player's at, he probably was like, oh, I'm fine, I can play, no problem. And then,
and I'm sure he trained like a few times, and he's like,
felt good.
Like,
yeah,
everything was okay in like training.
Even then, regardless though, you
do for the test. You don't just like tell the guy, oh, go play. Like whatever happens, happens.
I would have waited until the medical scans came back negative, so there was nothing in the metatarsal that would be some sort of an issue.
But part of me thinking too, like, because that was in a preseason game in America where he got hurt, right? So you're not only but having him play in a game where you already know that there's an issue. He's also now playing on a compromised surface because all the surfaces here are different because they're normally grass on turf. Yeah. So it's like, why even were they really planning on rushing him into the squad and having him start week 1? Like, because that is what it sounds like was the plan. But I thought, Javi, you talked a lot about this Ineos group and their attention to detail with certain things and that they'll get all these things right. Obviously, they've upgraded the tunnel at Old Trafford, but I feel like this is a big swing and a miss here for the new owners.
Yeah, but I don't think you place much blame on the new owners, can you? I think that's a thing of the medical... they did a good job by agreeing, okay, we'll sign him because that's what you guys want. We've signed a couple of players. But I don't know if Ineos has any real say in like the medical team and like those types of decisions. But, however, if you are Ineos, you're going to be pretty upset with the medical team because you just spent a lot of money and these idiots just messed it up.
Yeah.
You can't take any risks when you're spending that much money, especially like you said in the preseason. I was talking to Georgie before this, and I was like, if it was like the January transfer window where things are really getting close to
chasing the top four, different.
You have to take those risks.
Right.
You don't do it in the preseason again.
Right.
To Joe's point, where the pitch is you're not guaranteed a really good pitch. So
it's crazy. Pitches
make a big difference. I seriously think, I know you. I talked to you guys about this on like an earlier podcast. I tore my Achilles 9 weeks ago now. And I really don't think I would have torn my Achilles had I been playing on a better surface. But I played at Keyworth, and Keyworth is terrible. There's no give in that field, so it's terrible.
Turf,
I mean,
man.
You never know. But so I want to, before we go into more stuff with the Premier League, obviously the games are coming up this weekend. We'll recap them at some point. The big news that we haven't done a podcast on, we talked a little bit about it live. Your boy, George's boy, Pochettino, agreeing, not signing contracts yet, so that's important, not signing a contract, agreeing to be the U.S. men's national team new manager. Georgie, you're a big Pochettino Tottenham fan.
I loved Spurs and love Pochettino, yeah. No, the reason why I like the signing, potential, I don't know, is it official now? I don't even know at this point.
I think it's just like the formalities.
Formalities, right? Like Chelsea.
But he's agreed.
Yeah, he's agreed. He wants to come. It's just a matter of him and Chelsea figuring out.
No, it's not even him and Chelsea, because Chelsea has nothing to do with it. Chelsea sacked him, right? So it's really just like like Joe was talking about the details of, does he want to sign now and end his Chelsea payments and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But he's not tied to anyone. So the reason why everybody's excited about it is because there's no barriers now other than just the final details of his contract that he's going to agree and his agent's going to agree.
The reason why I like it is because it's completely different to what has been like the manager of what we view the manager of the U.S. soccer from the past since Klinsmann, to be honest. And even Pochettino was like so much experience with so many big names that he's coached and managed, going to Champions League finals, battling the Premier League for top 4, which is obviously is very, very tough, one of the best leagues. And then PSG, plenty of experience. And then coming back to with Chelsea, under so much pressure, I feel that it's completely different to what the U.S. managers have had, like we've had so far. And he's a European guy who understands the pressure, understands how to manage egos, which, like, compared to the teams he's had, this is going to be a walk in the park very much, because I don't really see anybody besides Pulisic. Everybody else is kind of like same level. There's no Messi, there's no Neymar, there's no Mbappe to be trying to manage and like make sure that they're happy while they're getting better treatment than everybody else. So I think that experience, along with the being able to manage, is going to play a key role with the U.S. going forward. My only question for him on how it's going to work is he going to want to be involved in more than just like coaching,
like the like national team level? Does he want to get involved in the whole ecosystem,
or are they going to even let him to get to that point.
Yeah.
That's what I'm very curious to see, because right now, to me, it doesn't signal anything of any different, like, of a change.
Yeah.
It's just telling me that it's kind of like, I mean, it's very early on, obviously, but I don't see Pochettino the type of a guy that would want to come to the U.S. and try to change the youth system or anything else. To me, he strikes me as the guy who just wants to coach, manage those players that he brings on, makes those decisions, and he doesn't care about anything else. So that's the one thing I would be very interested to see. But I don't think he's that type of a manager that wants to change the whole culture and all that stuff. Just wants to manage.
Joe, you're the only one here in this podcast that is born and bred in the United States. Your thoughts as an American fan of the United States men's national team? Is this a really good signing? Is there a better signing?
I guess yes to both questions. I think the only better signing, in my opinion, would have been someone like Klopp.
Oh, okay.
Arne Slot?
Yeah, for sure, not Arne Slot. But I'm really happy with the signing. To me, it's somebody who I think is an upgrade from what we've had consistently in terms of tactically, number one, which is great. But also, too, I think it's important that he will demand a little bit more of the players and have the respect to do so from the group when he demands more, just because of the teams he's coached, the players he's coached in the past, which I think will be a good thing for us. And, I mean, when you look at our talent, FIFA continues to rank us towards the top 10. I don't think our talent is necessarily there. But I do think we have the talent that on any day, if we play well and are set up tactically well, we can beat a lot of teams out there. And I think we've gotten our tactics wrong consistently, and we're so focused on like doing certain things the same way, and we very rarely adapt to the way we need to win games, that I think having Pochettino will help with that. But I do agree with Georgie. I don't think he's here to do the whole revamp of the United States or anything of that nature, as much as it is come here, give it a few years. And he also, I think, has a vested interest, obviously, because he'll be paid to do so, but he kind of has to get his own career back on track as well, where he can kind of use this as, if I can turn the United States around and get them to a quarter, a semifinal or something like that in the World Cup or further, I think there will be some more doors that will open up for him. And then at that point, my hope would be we try and then go get somebody, once the job is a little bit more attractive, to then bring on somebody who does want to revamp the whole system. But I don't think that's Pochettino. I could be wrong, and I would love, obviously, if the whole system was revamped, but I don't think that's what he's coming for, and I don't think that's necessarily his strong suit either.
Yep. I think it benefits all parties, right? So you talk about Pochettino, like Joe said, I think he wants to get back into the club game, or he wants to get back into having more doors open, because recently, because of his Chelsea and the last two jobs that he's had, Chelsea and PSG, even though PSG, he won a league title, it wasn't a success. They mutually agreed to part ways or whatever. Chelsea, obviously, was he sacked? Was he mutually part ways again?
Mutually agreed to part ways.
Regardless of how he left, it wasn't good for PSG and Chelsea. So the doors are closing for him. I think this is a good opportunity for him to try something different. Like you said, do really well, and then hopefully, I don't know, Real Madrid pops up, or one of the top teams in the Premier League pops up, and then he's going to go back into that. I think when it comes to the agreement about the youth stuff and whether he's going to change the whole development, I think that's something that gets agreed upon on the contract talks. Because if you guys remember, Klinsmann, when he came on officially as the head coach and the technical director of U.S. Soccer. So he had the two roles. So you knew right away that he was coming in because he wanted to change the whole youth system. Mm-hmm. And that was part of his role, which is a big criticism that they gave him, that they said he's taking on more than he can handle by having both of those roles. So I'm curious to see, as soon as they announce him and everything, what's kind of some of the fine print in his contract, whether he's going to... But I agree with Georgie. I don't think he's too interested in the youth stuff. He seems like more of a manager that's just going to want to come in and manage the team. However, I disagree with your point, Georgie, about the whole personalities and like the egos and stuff, because I think he might actually find it a little bit harder. And the reason why I say that is because at the teams he's managed, like, high performance and success is a minimum standard. Like, results is a minimum standard. So yes, he has to deal with some of these egos, but these egos know that they have to win. Whereas with the United States, he might not be dealing with egos, but he might be dealing with the attitudes of like, so what? We lost a game. It's not a big deal. We lost against Netherlands. We lost against France. It's not a big deal. We always lose to them. Whereas in the other teams, no matter who it is that you play, if you lose a game, like that's a serious, like you need to sort it out because you can't lose too many games. PSG specifically. Yeah. So I think that might be a little bit of a struggle of like him saying, "Hey guys, the standards are a little bit higher than what you guys are used to. You have to get used to that quickly, otherwise you're not going to be successful." It reminds me a little bit about Tottenham, not when he was there, but when Conte was there. Remember when Conte says like at the end he had enough, and he was like, nobody here wants to win. The mentality is not to win trophies here. Like that's just part of the environment or whatever. So,
do you think that will impact like who he brings on? Like I could see some of the players we're used to seeing consistently not coming back. Either him not bringing them camp, or he brings them to camp, doesn't like where they're at, and then sends them like, well, "You're not coming back."
Yeah, he's gonna give them all a chance.
Yep.
Like just to see what they're like, personality wise, and like.
I mean, after first one or two camps, do you think it's like all of a sudden we might not see?
Yeah.
Whomever, I don't know. Don't want to name anyone in particular, but.
I mean, I couldn't even name 3 players. So.
Well, I would tell you that he seems like the kind of guy that would give everyone a fair shot. Where you have a lot of managers, like Maresca, like Pep, like even probably Arne Slot, who coming in they will tell you like you're not in my plans. Yeah. Like go find a different spot or whatever. And obviously the national team is different, but he doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to come in and say, "Here's my list of players that I want. You guys are not in my plans." I think he's going to give everyone a fair look. But yeah, I think he's got a little bit of time to make some of those decisions. Where when it's actually important in the World Cup, we probably might see some different faces. However, the player pool's not that great. It's not that big, man. You don't have like everyone. You don't have 50 players playing in Europe.
Yeah.
Right. So that's going to be a little bit difficult because he's got what he has, and that's all he can do. He can't buy anyone.
What's the bare minimum 2026?
Bare minimum?
Like where do you see if let's say something happened,
do we have the groups yet?
No. Like what would you view as disappointment?
Oh no, because we're not even qualified.
Yeah. You are.
Sorry, no,
I mean,
like
I would be devastated if we didn't make it out of the group. I would be disappointed if we lost in the round of 16.
You'd be disappointed in the round 16.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we've consistently done that. That is something that we've done consistently for most World Cups, is we advance out of the group and then we lose in the round of 16. But
isn't this World Cup bigger now? Do they still have 16 teams? I thought this was the one that they were expanding.
The group stages are bigger, and this is the one I think where you're going to have a group of 3, and only one of the 3 gets knocked out, and the top 2 advance, but there's still going to be the round of 16 and on.
But the first game, right? The first one after the group stage.
Yeah, the first game after the group stage is where, I mean, I want us to win a group stage game or 2. But I wouldn't be, depending on how we perform, I wouldn't be like, I'm super sad if we got bounced in the quarters. I'd be disappointed, but it wouldn't be.
I think it depends on the makeup of the group.
Also true.
Who's on the group with us. Like Joe said, our performance within the group, I think minimum standards you have to get out of the group, because that was the reason why they fired Berhalter for Copa America. Yeah. And I know the World Cup's slightly different, but you also have less good teams because you have a couple teams that are, that wouldn't even make it in the Copa America, right? So I think that the transition is very quick from like being disappointed to being happy and content. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the first game after the group stages. So I think you're pretty disappointed if you don't win that game. I don't think you're going to sack him if you don't win that game. I think just getting out of the group stage, you keep him in. But I think you're also happy if you get out of that game. Like that's slightly overperforming. Mm-hmm. So that's how quick the transition goes. Because if they make it to that,
the quarterfinal.
We've
only done that a few times. I think one or twice.
That's when people are going to be happy about that. So I think the transition is pretty quick. So what I want to talk about, one of the pundits made a really, really good point, which I agree with, is he'll get respect from 3 different crowds of people, which is very important. The first one is going to be the players. He gets respect from the players because he's managed all these top personalities, right? So immediately, players are going to listen. He gets respect from U.S. fans. And you guys have seen how the news has been received so far. Like everyone's super excited about it. There's not a single American fan really talking about how we could have gotten somebody else who was better, because the ones that we went after denied the opportunity, right? But more importantly for me is the respect that he's going to get from the international world, from international fans or people outside of the United States men's national team. They're going to start seeing the United States as a bigger opponent when they play against them, because I think he helps elevate that a little bit. So hopefully if the results match that eventually, because of his appointment, because of the results, people will start to see the United States as one of the top teams. And like you said, FIFA keeps ranking us pretty highly, but right now we're not really performing at that level. So ultimately that's why I think it works out for both, because regardless of when he leaves, if he decides to go somewhere else, this appointment is a big appointment for the United States. And we haven't had a high profile appointment, just like Georgia said, since Klinsmann. And I don't even think Klinsmann people were super excited about. But I think Poch, everybody really is. Klinsmann had the people divided.
He's getting sacked in the morning. Poch is getting sacked.
Could be.
The following night, just because. No, honestly though, if Pochettino this strikes me overall as a 2-year appointment to the World Cup.
Through the
nothing
World Cup.
else.
Yep.
Literally that's it.
What if he does well though? What if they do perform well at the World Cup? You don't think he stays?
I think he would want to leave.
See, I mean, I don't. The reason why I don't think he would want to stay, because I think the U.S., like Joe said, wants somebody. Actually, I don't know if they want somebody to change the whole system. I don't think so, actually. So they might just love somebody that's like, I'm just gonna coach. You guys do whatever you want. Like,
well,
I don't
the
really
reason
care.
why they don't want someone to come in and change the whole system is because the changes that people will have to make in order for it to grow and develop and like actually be more accessible will cost a lot of money to the big business people who are at the top. That's why they don't want to come. They don't want somebody to come in, because right now it's not broken. They're making
Insane
a lot
amounts
of
money.
insane amounts of money.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to, if they found the perfect candidate within Pochettino, if he came in and said, "Don't worry, I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about."
Mm-hmm.
Which is exact. There's no way he would. Actually, now that I think about it, there's absolutely 0%. There's a 0% chance he wants to do anything else.
Yeah.
It's 2 years to a World Cup. What are you gonna do? In 2 years, you're not gonna be able to change anything.
No, you'd have to come and want this to be your like next chapter of your life, to come in here and change all of it. And he's not. Maybe he's done with club, but I highly doubt that.
He's too
young, and he's got, I think, too much to prove from a club standpoint. I don't think he's happy with how he's left any of his clubs, really. Because if you look at all of them, takes Tottenham to the Champions League final, then gets sacked, 5 months later, because it was like the start of the following season. Then goes to PSG, mutually parts ways. Then goes to Chelsea and mutually parts ways. And here he is. So I don't think he's got a lot left to give there.
Mutually parts ways with the U.S.
Hey, get us far in a World Cup and we can mutually part ways.
Yeah.
I think we'll see pretty quickly, because of how much he's going to want to affect the youth side of things. If he doesn't touch it and he's just with the national team, I agree. I think after the World Cup, the only way he doesn't leave is if they, I honestly think it's a very specific scenario. The only way he doesn't leave the World Cup is if they get out of the group stages, but then they don't progress the next game. Because if he gets bounced in the group stages, mutually part ways.
Yeah.
If he goes past that, clubs are going to be like, all right, he's a good manager. He's taking them pretty far. We'll take him. Kind of like the base level of where he's expected to go is where maybe he might stay for another year or two, try and win the Gold Cup, try and win a Copa America or whatever, and then maybe he stays a little bit longer.
Yeah. It's a good signing, though, when you compare it to Cherundolo and possibly Greg Berhalter the third time.
No, there was never a Greg Berhalter the third time, George. I don't know why he keeps mentioning that. It's never going to happen.
You never know with us, man. You never know with us. Because it was the perfect opportunity to get rid of Berhalter after the World Cup. You have this huge blow up. You don't do well. He's an argument with parents, and then
he's back, baby.
But hey, we have. I will say it is. Klopp was like a dream signing, I think, for everybody, myself included. Where like this one is more realistic, and it's I think the best that we could have done. I genuinely think that. So
under all the circumstances, when you look at specifically everything, he was probably the best manager that the U.S. could have gotten right now. Yeah. Unless we waited a year or something, and then people would have just started panicking and freaking out and stuff like that. So I think it's a good signing.
I did see a thing online, and it said there was a picture of Weah getting his red card, walking off, and it said this red card changed the history of U.S. soccer. Then it called him an effing legend.
I don't know. I think, listen, Berhalter was going to be out regardless. That guy he's useless. You gave him enough time.
We weren't going to get rid. We were not going to get rid of him if we got out of the Copa. If we got out of the group stage, I don't think we would have gotten rid of him. If we'd have gotten out of the group stage and lost to Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, or Uruguay, because we probably would have lost to one of those 4 teams only, assuming we didn't get a red card, I think we would have kept him.
I don't know. Even the performances, though. You're saying that if he didn't get a red card, you guys win the game. And I don't know if that's true. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's true. I don't know. I mean, maybe.
We'll never know.
What I'm saying is they didn't perform super well, to be honest. I think they played well was it the first game that they played well? That was it?
Well, the first game, we played well.
And
then the second game, we were playing well until we got the red card.
Yeah.
Then even after the red card, we scored. And we still played decently well down a man.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But
Georgie. Do that again, Georgie, for the fans. It's 1-1. It's 1-1. What I'm saying is I just don't think he was the right guy.
No, he's not.
So in the end, it was going to come out. We would have been in the same spot regardless. I think we would have gone further. Sure, we could have gone further, but the world works in certain ways to bring out the truth. To bring out the truth.
Javi's talking about the United States of America's men's soccer team, and he said "we" multiple times in that sentence. We.
Get my green card soon, boy. I'm
I'm
good.
Denouncing the Mexican national team.
No. I've I have a passion for the Mexican national team. Obviously, that's where I was born, and that's my that's the motherland for me. So, but I'll tell you what. I said this on the live as well. I support the United States men's national team. I thought you were going to say
I support whoever's doing better.
I don't like the people who are like Mexican fans who like hate the U.S. men's national team, especially the ones that live here. It's like, why do you want them to do bad? It's better if U.S. and Mexico are both doing well, because then it makes CONCACAF look better. It makes us look better across the world stage.
Yep.
So the only time I root against the U.S. is when Mexico plays against them. When the U.S. plays against anybody else, I root for the U.S. And obviously when Mexico plays against anyone, I root for them. But when they are against each other, I root for Mexico. But I'm still not like, do I get a little bit of pleasure of seeing Mexico like smash United States? Maybe a little bit. But when it comes to them not playing each other, I'm a big U.S. fan for sure. And I'm happy with the appointment. Although if I had to kind of nitpick a little bit, which is hard because like I said, under the circumstances, there's nobody better. But he hasn't really won anything. He's coached at high levels, but he hasn't really won anything. He won really the only trophy he's won is what, the League Cup?
League One.
Sorry, the League One with PSG, which is like Georgie could win that. Seriously?
What? I could win a freaking
I've seen you coach, Georgie. You don't coach. You just hang out on sidelines. You just tell people like who's starting.
Damn right. That's what I need to do.
That's what I'm saying. You would have won.
Damn right. That's what I'm saying. Messi, center back. There you go. Easy.
So like if you don't win the league, that's when you know you're absolutely terrible. But I just don't think like he's got a winning record. Most of the teams and all the teams that he's been with, maybe barring Espanyol, the first team, he's got a winning record. But he hasn't. It's not like this guy's got a bunch of trophies. Even if he would have had some more inconsistent years and still won trophies on other years, like that's the only thing. But I digress.
Listen,
he's the best.
That's how I feel about when the U.S. play my home country of Uruguay. Like I root for Uruguay
this
because
man,
I was born there. But
this man is so biased. You're so biased.
What? I just came out.
Darwin Nunez is Georgie's favorite player. Everybody knows that. The whole world knows. Darwin Nunez knows that.
He's been growing out his hair since
Darwin Nunez knows that. This guy. You should see the smile light up on his face when people mistake him for Darwin Nunez in these stadiums. But anyway, the whole point is,
how am I biased?
Darwin Nunez is from Uruguay, right? He plays on the national team of Uruguay.
Is he?
Georgie loves watching Uruguay play now. That's his favorite team. And all of a sudden,
I was born there.
No. All of a sudden, Georgie wants to sign every player who plays for the Uruguay national team. He wants to sign him for Liverpool.
Makes sense.
He's like, I wanted Ugarte, right?
I wanted Ugarte.
Araujo.
I saw your tweet about Araujo.
I wanted Valverde. You want everyone from.
I think everyone wants Araujo and Valverde. I will give him that one because they're both amazing.
What?
Valverde.
Darwin, on the other hand, not so much.
Yeah. Well, we already have him.
I'm just saying, all of a sudden, you should start naming. You just looked at the list of Uruguay national team players, and you're like, oh, if they could play alongside my boy Darwin, we'd be a much better team.
We'll get Bielsa to coach.
Yeah.
Bring Bielsa.
You would love Bielsa. Let's be honest. You would love Bielsa.
No. Oh, maybe at some point, but Arne Slot.
And Bielsa's Argentinian anyway. He's not even.
Yeah, but he's coaching.
Yeah, he's coaching. So that counts too, right?
Any
involvement with Uruguay?
You've never even been to Uruguay.
Yes, I have.
When?
2002.
Shut up. Shut up.
Listen, let's get into the good stuff here, okay? I want to bring this up. Me and Georgie, we argued during the live.
Oh my God.
We argued so much.
Am I gonna have to be the voice of reason here?
Yes, I think so.
Is this the Ziyech thing?
Yes.
Okay.
We argued so much, and I made so many good points that Georgie
The
literally
people left.
Georgie literally walked out the room so that he could go downstairs and start thinking about what he wanted to say as a rebuttal to the things that I was saying. So here's the argument, okay? I think.
Wait.
Okay, you could go ahead. Go ahead. Tell your side of the story, Georgie.
No,
before
there is no side of my story. I went to give an order to Boston, who called me because he messaged me through Instagram and I didn't answer. But
okay,
we had 13
thanks for
people.
all the information, Georgie. We appreciate it.
We have 13
Georgie's
people.
super popular, guys.
We had 13 people on the live.
It's not true. We
I
had
went
a maximum
downstairs.
of 9. We had a maximum of 9 at all times.
I went
checked the
downstairs
stats.
for 3 minutes to give the order to my boy Bassem. I come back up. We had 4 people. 2 of them is Javi on his phone. 1 is me on my phone. And probably Fernando and whoever else.
I might have gone on a rant. Someone said I was low-key speaking facts, which is true. I was.
Okay, go on your rant.
Can we give the facts here?
All right, so here's the rant. We were talking about Trent and Alexander-Arnold. And Georgie, I don't know how it came to this point, but I started talking about how...
Because Zayd said he's the best right back in the world.
Yeah, he said one of our viewers said he's the best right back in the world, right?
Wow.
And he wants him in Real Madrid.
My criticism of him was the fact that he's not a good defender. And so when you put a defender, or when you put somebody who's not a good defender in a back line, and he does amazing things going forward, they're like, oh my God, he's the best defender in the world. He's not the best defender. He's a terrible defender. Everybody knows this. You can agree that he's not a very good defender.
I'd never say he's the best defender.
All right. So you're agreeing with me. You're agreeing with me. Yes.
No.
He's a terrible defender. Let's be honest.
The argument is not if he's a good defender or not.
I know. But what I'm saying though is this.
So you're changing the argument.
Trent's biggest strengths are the fact that he has really good ball delivery, good at set pieces, crossing, final ball, like fantastic assists.
Yes.
Basically, when you round it all up, he's really good at assists. Okay. So my argument was saying is somehow he's managed to be like the best outside back in the world. Why don't you just, if I was a coach and I wanted to simulate that success that Liverpool had with Trent, I would find like a winger that's really good at ball delivery, which there's a lot more of those because they're in positions where they serve the ball a lot. Somebody who gets a lot of assists, and then you just put him as an outside back. And people will praise him for the exact same things that Trent Alexander-Arnold. I said Hakim Ziyech. You guys have to listen.
No. And what was the argument? You can't even take yourself seriously.
I said, if you put Hakim Ziyech in there, like if I had him, for example, just a guy who's not like one of the best in the world, can ping a ball amazingly, fantastic delivery, and the way he passes the ball. You put him there, and he's going to be a terrible defender, right? Okay. Yes. You got Virgil van Dijk, who's going to bail you out on every single moment. So I'm okay with that because you got somebody better defending.
Don't make excuses. Just state the point. What did you say about him?
I'm saying that he would be regarded in the same way that Trent is being regarded. Like, oh my God, this guy's the best defender in the world because of it. Because of what he provides in the attack, which is not something that he should be considered to be the best in that position for. Because if you're playing as an outside back and you're not a good defender, I don't see how you can be the best outside back in the world. Plain and simple. That's all I'm saying. All right, Joe, interject real quick.
So what am I have to pick who is right in this argument?
No, just your thoughts.
I mean, I don't think Hakim Ziyech would be a world-class defender if he was playing outside back. I think Trent's amazing, obviously going forward, but I would agree that he struggles defensively. And I think a lot of people get confused because of the fact that he does so well going forward and confuse that as making him a great outside back. Like I tried in my head compare him with this, and what people are, I think, trying to like think of is like Marcelo going forward was amazing, but also defending, he was amazing. Mm-hmm. And I think people are like trying to find an outside back who's similar to that because there's been a lot of Brazilian ones that are really, really good. I think Cafu, at least for me, is like the old school one that I distinctly remember going forward, running down the right side.
I'm glad you brought up Cafu.
And he also could defend. And a lot of people, I think, are expecting Trent to be that. He just isn't. And I don't think he ever will be. And that doesn't make him bad. But he's not the best defender in the world. And I don't think he's in the top handful of the best defenders in the world because he's not great at doing what defenders are supposed to do first, which is defend. Different argument if you're saying, is he the best? If you're playing in a back three and you have wing backs, a little bit different because your responsibilities are different. But in terms of like straight up right back, no, I would not say he's the best, close to the best. I don't think he's even, I was telling you guys this before, I don't even think he's one of the top 3 or 4 English right backs.
Oof.
First of all,
Gareth Southgate agrees with you.
First of all, Cafu said Trent is the best in the world.
It doesn't matter what Cafu said.
Yeah.
You can't say it as like
I never said that.
Wait, no, Cafu did not say that.
Yes, he did.
When? Recently?
Go look at it.
whether he did or he didn't.
About
you can't
Trent.
use that as
No,
like
the
why
only
he-
reason I brought it because he brought up Cafu.
The
So
quote
that's why
I
I
saw,
brought it to mind.
the
Yeah,
quote
but that
I
has
swore
nothing
I
to
saw about Cafu actually said, I don't understand how people can say that he is the best right back in the world when
Yeah, Cafu said Trent
in his
is the best.
Champions League final, how he performed against Vinny.
I don't know about that.
I
quote.
think
I
that's
know
true.
Cafu said that Trent is anyway.
Georgie's spreading fake news on the podcast.
man.
That's one. That's
Sacked
one.
in the morning.
That's one.
Sacked in the morning.
Two. That's not even the argument.
No,
Your
but-
whole argument is the two players that you mentioned.
No. But that brings me to a similar player who we talked about as well, right? Joe does how like
You
I
brought
started-
up Hakimi.
No. Hakimi at the start because I said like that's another player like that I would do that too if I was coaching and I was like okay I
So
want
you
the
would-
same results.
Okay.
Danny Carvajal.
Oh, Joe.
What about Danny Carvajal?
Danny Carvajal can defend and can attack. Has won Champions Leagues and multiple Champions Leagues and has played in a team that's been very, very good and gotten them to a certain level of success consistently. He has been an undoubted starter for a long time for Real Madrid. So how are you going to make the argument that that Trent is better than him?
Well, also to go look at the team that if I'm Carlo Ancelotti, I'm not looking for attacking defenders. I have enough attacking players.
But is it crazy?
I need great defenders who, because I'm not getting a ton of defensive work from Vinny, Rodrigo, Mbappe, or Bellingham. I need 6 in my back 4 and my 2 holding midfielders to play tremendously and that can keep people at bay and are amazing defenders, and you cannot get beat 1v1. And Trent.
But is it a fair argument? Is it a fair argument to debate Danny Carvajal versus Trent Alexander-Arnold? Could you make a debate on both sides about who's
I think
better?
you could make a debate on both sides. The thing I hate about those types of questions is they're drastically different players. And like depending on how you're setting up your team, I think you pick different things for different people. That if I want a defensive right back, I'm picking Carvajal. If I want somebody who can deliver balls and I don't have someone who can take free kicks, Trent might find a way onto the team sheet. But I don't think that they are anywhere close to a like for like comparison.
Sure, that's fair.
But no, I don't think. If the question is, should Real Madrid go after Trent? No, not at all.
Georgie,
So again.
before I let you rebuttal me.
So
here,
no. So again, what was the main argument? The argument was never was Trent the best.
This was the argument that I was trying to
You
make.
brought up the one name, and I lost the plot.
Hakim Ziyech, yeah.
So you were saying you put him at right back, and we will be talking about Trent and him being the same player at the same standard.
Absolutely. Yep.
Joe.
Yep.
Tell
Hakimi,
me
maybe
that.
Hakimi would be a better one. Like if I said that off the top of my head, but I can name like it's the premise is the same though. Premise is the same. Like if I mentioned Hakimi because I think Hakimi could probably do a better job. But like what I'm saying though is this is what I'm saying. My argument is this. If I'm a coach, right? And this has actually happened to me when I'm coaching. I struggle sometimes with getting players forward, outside backs forward because naturally defenders want to defend. So then what I do if I want to get more numbers forward is I put a winger and I put them as an outside back. Because if I want them to get forward, they're naturally going to do it. They're naturally going to be in those positions. They're going to want to get forward.
Man management 100 right here, this guy.
That's what I'm saying. So, and obviously it's like tactics come into play, right? If you're going to be defending a lot, that's probably not something you want to do. But if you have the ball quite a bit, that's exactly what you wanted. That's what I would do if I wanted players to get forward without me having to like drill it into their heads 100 times. So as a manager at the top level, when I know I have the best defender in the Premier League when he's in his prime, Virgil van Dijk, who's covering me, it's okay to say, I'm going to put somebody who maybe doesn't defend as well because he's going to give us a little bit more in the attack because we know we're covered with who we have. But Joe made a really good point because somebody in the chat said this as well, is that Trent Alexander-Arnold, his best position probably is a wing back in a 3-5-2, 3-4-3, whatever you want to
Yeah, it gives him more freedom.
Yeah.
Because it gives you a little bit more freedom to put him in the positions where he's really successful. Ultimately, I just struggle with the argument about is he the best outside back because, like I said, and like Joe said, you have to be a good defender to be considered that. That's why when you talk about best outside back, I think Danny Carvajal is a better outside back than Trent Alexander-Arnold. because
But
he's
that
more
wasn't the
complete.
argument.
He's more complete.
We didn't talk about best. We didn't talk about any of that. The argument was the player you specifically mentioned,
Hakeem Ziyech.
If you put him, you said if you put Ziyech at a right back, we'll be talking about Trent up here and Ziyech up here.
Yes.
That's no.
Hakeem Ziyech has everything that Trent has,
That's the argument.
including
There's
the no defending.
way.
Including the no defending.
I will.
There's no way you actually.
I was
think
with
that.
you, Javi,
Ziyech.
until
I
you
love
said
Ziyech.
things like that.
I love
like
Ziyech.
don't
Look, and that's the thing. That was the argument. It's never. The argument was never about best or anything. The argument was those two players. You break that guy. Where is he playing now? What does he do with his life?
Turkish
Galatasaray.
league. Yeah, Galatasaray, I think.
Yeah.
If that was the case,
Chelsea broke the man, and Chelsea breaks a lot of people. Chelsea's not a good.
Literally,
Okay.
everybody.
Chelsea's not a good. Yeah.
Okay, so
you go to Chelsea for your career to die.
let me ask you.
That's why the United States has Pochettino.
Your theory then.
Literally.
How come nobody's ever done that, or people don't do it? If it was so easy to make another Trent, who's valued as
I
one
think
of the
people
best in
do
the
it.
world.
I think more people have done it. I think more people have done it at a younger
some
age.
Some of the best wingers in the world.
Okay.
They were wingers as kids,
Yes.
Yeah,
and then
that's what
moved to outside
Okay.
backs, and then they became wingers again. Gareth Bale, Bukayo Saka.
Okay.
Like that happens a lot.
Where-
Joshua Kimmich.
Saka's not a left back.
He started as one.
He started.
Oh,
as one.
sorry. He was an attacking as a youth player, and then as he was breaking through the Arsenal ranks, was an outside wing back.
Okay,
a left
and
back.
now what does he do?
Now he plays right wing.
Okay, so that's how are you making that argument then?
What do you mean?
What
You
I'm
just
saying,
said
what I'm
that
saying is
doesn't
that
happen. That
you
people
said it
switch
doesn't
from-
happen. It does
No,
happen.
you can
does
switch.
happen.
You can switch, but he said it's so easy to make Ziyech one of the best players in the world, right back. Then everybody will be doing it. You can just put any player at right back, and they'll be.
No, but
Well,
what
you
I'm
could,
saying
you
is,
could say the same thing about, well, why didn't everyone always just use inverted wingbacks? Well, because no one did it until they did it, and then they realized that it worked. That's what innovation is, Georgie.
No.
People do something different,
You guys
and
are
then it
absolutely
works.
clueless. You guys- if you
people
think-
do,
if
no,
you
whoa,
think-
people do something different, then it works, and then other people copy
Bro,
it.
there's no way you can tell me in 30 years nobody's thought about, Ziyech, that's an average player, pretty good on the ball. Let's put in a right back. He'll be one of the best right backs in the world. No, nobody's. If it was so easy to do with a random player like that, then we'll have 5 Trents.
No one ever said it was easy to do.
This guy puts Ziyech and Trent in the same argument.
Well, that's
Yeah,
because
but I
he's been
also
drinking
thought
all
about it.
day. I don't
I
know
also
why
thought
he
about
says
it.
that.
No. But the argument is the fact that if you wanted to do it for specific players, you could do it. So you keep saying Ziyech. Okay, I can name. If I thought about it and I wrote it down, I could probably think of 3 or 4 better players to do that with than Ziyech. But we were just talking, so I was like, "Oh, Ziyech," because I like Ziyech.
yeah,
because he's someone that came to my mind.
But you're still not
clearly.
letting go of the argument.
I will say it
No,
would
no,
take.
but I
you
don't-
would have to find a really special player to be able to do that, though. That's the hard part with it, because I think once
I
you get,
don't even think it's a special player.
because once you get to a specific level,
just an
So
attack
Trent
player.
is this shit.
Dude, no, because once you get to a
No,
specific,
I'm
you
not
don't
saying
think
that.
it would take a special player, because once you get to a specific level, you are very ingrained in how your body moves based on your position. You're ingrained on
No.
how you think about the game, how you see the game,
Javi
where
thinks
you see
Trent
spaces.
is the worst player in the world.
No.
So Javi on
Trent's
one
prob-
leg.
Dude,
Well, Javi
Let
on
me
one leg
tell
can
you
go play
something.
right back.
But let me tell you something from the other side of this.
I feel bad
all
for anyone listening to this podcast.
no,
It's
no.
just 3 dudes screaming at each other.
Let me tell you something from the other side of this. Like, if you reflect it, I think Trent could be a good winger, good wing back. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that in my head, I picture him more as like an actual winger or a wing back, somebody who's higher up because of the things that he does. He just got put into a position where, for Liverpool, because Jurgen Klopp liked it or whatever, he plays in that position. It worked out when he was in that position. When they moved him,
Didn't work out.
didn't work out.
see-
Even for Liverpool, because you guys had him play center mid for Liverpool, it didn't really work out. England didn't work out, so you can't just blame Gareth Southgate. But what I'm saying, though, is that it's the other way around. Like, I think about it the same way with defenders. Like, if we're a team that I want, well, maybe not necessarily parking the bus, but we're defending a little bit more against a team that's good, and I need somebody who's going to go and just be a little bit more organized, I will put an outside back in a higher position because I know they're going to be a little bit more.
Or you put a center back as a 6 or something like that.
Like,
to hold. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Trent is shit. That's not my argument, because I actually think Trent's a good player because of what he does. I just think the argument is literally he's not one of the best outside backs.
Yep.
I think traditionally he should be more of a winger or more of a wing back.
And you also think Ziyech can come and do the same job Trent does.
I do like Ziyech though. I don't know why you guys think. I don't know why you think Ziyech is shit, but I like.
I never
Ziyech.
say he's shit,
I like
but
Ziyech.
there's levels. You don't.
I think Ziyech,
If he was
I like
that good,
Ziyech.
how come nobody's done that?
It's not that nobody's done that. He was just in a player in a different position. He was playing more of an attacking player, more of an attacking player. And Chelsea ruined him. I think Chelsea ruined him. At Ajax, he was class. At Ajax, he was absolutely class.
Yeah, so was Anthony.
All right,
there's levels to this.
That's a clear indication that there's levels. Anthony, don't fucking put Anthony in this conversation.
Different.
Wait.
Anthony in this conversation.
So wait. Trent, Ziyech, and then Anthony.
Yeah, but Anthony doesn't do anything well, and he's a winger. If he was a good winger and crossing at the ball,
Ziyech at least scored goals too.
Last week, somebody on the live said Anthony is left back, and you said no chance.
Yeah, because I don't think he does anything well. What I'm saying is that he doesn't do anything well. Why is he in this argument? Why is Anthony in this argument?
Why is Ziyech in this argument?
Because Ziyech is a good player. I like Ziyech. He's a very good attacking player.
I thought you were trolling this whole time, but there's no way you're actually serious that Trent and Ziyech at right back are the same player.
I wouldn't know because nobody's put Ziyech back there.
So you're going back on your argument.
No. Well, you can't compare. What I'm saying is like nobody's putting him there.
Comparative, not
you're
me.
You're telling me that he's better outside. No, I'm just saying that I would like to explore that possibility because I think he could be. Yeah, I think he could be. What's so wrong about that?
You compared Ziyech to Trent earlier.
Yes, I'm comparing him right now. For the things that they do well, I don't see why they can't play the same position because they play different positions.
I'm going to ask you this last time. You think Ziyech at right back is the same as Trent at right back?
I think if you teach him how to play the right back position, yeah. I think for the things that he gives you. Is he going to be a great defender? No. Is Trent a great defender? No. The things that they do well are very similar. They play in different positions. But listen, we're going to move on, but I'm just saying I'm confused as to why Ziyech is shit to you. He's
not shit.
He's a great player.
But I'm comparing him to Trent. I think
Ziyech could have been.
Why does Real Madrid want Trent?
Different.
Why does Real Madrid want Trent? Why didn't they want Ziyech?
I don't know. But
how do you know they don't want Ziyech? Maybe they surprised.
Absolutely nobody wants Ziyech.
Teams wanted Ziyech before Chelsea.
Yeah.
You're telling me Trent goes to Chelsea and he does good?
What?
If Trent goes to Chelsea, will he do well?
If they depends how they play. I don't know what they're gonna do now.
Yeah, Chelsea ruins players. You can't go to Chelsea and do well.
Cole Palmer's
the exception. You gotta be honest. Chelsea does ruin players a little bit. Like there's a lot of players that've gone to Chelsea
the past 3 years
and it's been shit.
By the whole world.
Well, not just the past 3 years though. They've been ruining players since I can remember.
They have a very fast success approach. They were very 0 to 100, then we drop, and then we're back to champion. And now after the Manchester City takeover, they've just been dog shit. Listen, I will die on this hill, Georgie. I'm telling you right now, I will die on this hill if I was a manager.
What's the hill? The Ziyech and Trent.
The hill is that.
So $100 million.
You've asked what the hill is 10 times. I think we all know what the hill is.
The $100 million Trent is the same as Ziyech. So Ziyech is $100 million.
No. See, I don't like when you do this. You just change it up. You're completely changing up my words. Yes, you are.
You said they're the same.
No. I told you that I think that there's ways that Ziyech could be doing the same things that Trent is doing and be a successful Trent.
You compared the two players and you said...
Ultimately, my argument was that you can't say Trent is one of the best outside backs in the world when he's not a good defender. Plain and simple.
And then you brought Ziyech to compare.
Yeah. Exactly. Because I think Ziyech, they do similar things. You and I will agree to agree with me for this argument, all right?
Listen, I can't wait until the comments of people trying to figure out how you can put Ziyech and Trent in the same sentence at right back.
You have to teach one of them to play the position.
You'd actually technically have to teach both of them how to defend.
That's true. That part as well.
And then on top of that, we have this guy telling me he's the fourth choice right back.
Yep.
He was. That's why he didn't even get considered for the position.
So question for you. So
I don't know about fourth, but he wasn't the first. Or the second.
He's for sure not the first or the second. Best case scenario, he's the third.
You're telling me right now, Trippier, you will start Trippier over Trent?
That's what I'm talking about. Trippier's not, I didn't say Trippier's in the top. Ben White's
nowhere in the England team. So we don't know if he's on
He would be in the England team if
he will be
now that Gareth Southgate's not the coach.
Okay.
Ben White, Kyle Walker. Mm-hmm. And then you're looking at these next three that are very close in Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Kieran Trippier.
Oh my God.
Georgie. Don't say that's a crazy argument.
That is a crazy argument.
Get out of here, dude. For how?
You're going to tell me Reece James, who's missed out the past 2 years, is anywhere near Trent. Then you're telling me Trippier, who's anywhere near James or Trent.
What about, can we both agree that Kyle Walker and Ben White are better than Trent?
I would not start Kyle Walker over Trent. No chance.
Even
you
though
tell
Kyle
me,
Walker is like one of the first people on
no chance
Pep
you tell me
Guardiola's team sheet.
No chance you tell me in this Euros right now, if Trent would have started right back over Kyle Walker, England would have done 10 times better. That's 100% fact.
Well, they can't do 10 times better. They made it to the final.
So 10 times
Yeah,
better.
they would have played better. What was your argument? That they played shell the whole entire tournament. You hated how they played.
Everyone though.
That has nothing.
That's everyone. That's everyone.
Who's everyone?
Oh my.
The whole English
And
team.
Trent
No,
also
I'm talking about
started.
England as a
Trent
team.
started,
In midfield, where that's not his position.
and he didn't do well.
He didn't do bad.
No, but
He did okay.
take that argument out because like obviously we're talking about right back positions.
Yeah.
So
In England, Trent would have done so much better than Kyle Walker because, one, he can overlap. England did not have to defend as much as they should have, and they sat back. The reason why they did that is because of who? Tactics. Now, if you have a manager who's actually understands tactics, understands how to play progressive football, not Southgate, you will have Trent starting, and I guarantee him and Saka will do so much better than Kyle Walker and Saka.
Or you start Ben White, who already plays with Saka all year round, and arguably is the best right wing, right back matchup in the entire league. So why would you not keep that going? You have Ben White, who starts and started every game for the best
Wait, tell me. You told me I can't make an argument about Reece James.
Hold on,
and
pause.
then you talk about Ben White, who's nowhere near the England team. You
What do
can't
you
talk
mean
about the
he's nowhere near-
Euros.
What do you mean he's nowhere near? He was at the World Cup.
Was he at the Euros?
The team.
Was he at the Euros?
Hey,
The only reason why he wasn't at the Euros is because he said he didn't want to go.
Oh, so how's that my fault?
Can you guys just
He's not there.
stop screaming because nobody's gonna be able to hear what you guys are saying.
Good.
Because it's all gonna be like
There's no
it's
way
all
you
gonna
can't
be
tell.
clipped anyway.
You're telling me I can't say that Trent won't start over Kyle Walker because he started in midfield. But then you're talking about a guy who's not even at the Euros that you're making a point about. How is that relevant?
But because how is it relevant? You said, I said I don't think he is one of the best English right backs. Last time I checked, Ben White is still English, whether he goes to the Euros or not.
Okay.
So if he's not better than Ben White and he's not better than Kyle Walker, best case scenario, he is third. And that is a arguable generous third when you look at
A generous third over Trippier and Reece James. You have lost the plot. There's absolutely no person on this planet that takes Reece James or Trippier over. Well, Reece James is nowhere near.
What are you talking about?
He's 2
Gareth
years.
Southgate did it every game at the Euros.
And what were you two sitting on that
And wait.
couch? What you two on that couch? What were you guys most pissed about? How they played their football?
You're right, because we both said if they put Trent in, it would all be fixed.
Because he would be.
We never said that, Georgie.
No,
that was
but you
sarcasm.
guys hated on Gareth Southgate, yes or no?
Yeah.
So now you guys hate on Gareth Southgate when it's convenient.
But you're assuming that Trent would fix everything.
He would fix a lot.
You're also assuming that if
Right.
Gareth Southgate wasn't the coach, that Trent would start.
I never said he would start.
And I don't-
with anybody else. I'm telling you, in that position at the Euros, Trent would have done 10 times better than Kyle Walker did. And Kyle Walker didn't even have.
It's very easy to make an argument that you can't ever prove that argument, Georgie. They would do better if he would have started. Well, no one can ever tell you that you're right or wrong because that will never happen. So we'll never know.
Okay,
but we will.
So
know.
we'll never know if Ben White is better than Trent.
Yeah, we will.
No, we won't. Why?
Because there will be a new English manager, and we
Okay.
will see who plays, and we'll see how it goes.
So-
And we can also watch this season.
So wait.
see who does better.
Wait. So now
That's what we should do. We should track this
Okay.
season. Goals, assists, tackles,
Okay.
clean sheets. What other important metrics are there for an outside back, would you say? Interceptions, duels won.
okay.
Where do you think Trent beats Ben White in any of those metrics?
Premier League title, Champions League title, and right back. Where are all these players at? Where's Trippier?
Well, Kyle Walker's won a few of those.
Okay, so now
He's
Kyle
won
Walker.
multiple of
Wait,
those,
Kyle
actually.
Walker's better than your boy?
I'm fine with that. He's still better than your boy.
So now he's
I
better.
said Ben White, Kyle Walker, and then it's a conversation. But those are the clear-cut top two.
No chance. No chance.
Okay.
All right, how about we flip a coin?
No.
And then
Let me
whoever
get.
wins it gets it right.
No. The season will. Hey, there's a reason why they roll the ball, isn't there?
There's the reason why Trent is wanted by Real Madrid and Ben White is just at Arsenal.
Okay. Just
see.
at Arsenal.
We'll see.
And there's a reason why Javi didn't know who Ben White was until 3 years ago.
Yeah, and he's played really well.
He has
Doesn't matter
played
if
well.
I didn't know. He's played really well.
He has played really well. I
So-
like Ben White. He's one of my favorite players.
Listen,
in
I like
Premier League.
Arnold too, Georgie.
No. You disrespect Arnold.
I never disrespected him. I just told him you can't
You
defend.
put Ziyech
You
in
can
the
agree
same
with me.
sentence.
You can agree with me.
There's no
He can't
way you
defend.
can.
He can't defend.
I
Or he,
never-
not he
no,
can't defend. He's not a good defender. He's not a good defender.
That does not put him in the same sentence as Ziyech.
I like Ziyech though. It's personal preference. I like Ziyech. Ziek's not terrible. If
He's not-
you watch his highlights, the guy's
not terrible.
The guy's legit.
But Ziyech is nowhere near the conversation. With
I
Trent.
just think Ziyech was ruined by Chelsea.
Do you really want to see some of these stats?
So you're telling me Ziyech is better than Reece James?
No.
What?
But you gotta stop. You gotta stop because I'm not saying that he would come in right now and he'd be the best outside back.
So-
What I'm saying is that you could train someone in that position because of the strengths in order to do that. That's all I'm saying. You could train someone to do
So
that.
wait, what's Reece James' strength?
What's Trent's strength?
I'm not a big Reece James fan.
So you're saying Ziyech? So Ziyech is on the par Trent, but Ziyech is not par Reece James.
I didn't say Ziyech was part Trent.
Yes, you
taking
did.
No, I didn't. I'm saying you could train him to do the same things that Trent was
Georgie's
doing.
seeing red.
so that he
He's
could.
lost it.
But I'm not saying that he's like obviously it's the same thing as if you put Trent. What I'm saying is if you put Trent as a winger, he wouldn't be the best winger in the world. But you could train him to do it because of the strength that he has. That at some point he might actually be the best in the world. I would rather put him there. That's what I'm saying. But I'm not going to compare him to Vinicius right now because that doesn't make sense.
Trent will never be Vinicius, no matter what you do with Trent.
Right. But then it's like me. It's like you saying, "Oh, so you're going to compare him? You think him and Vinicius are on the same level?" I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in terms of like effectiveness in that position, if you trained him to do so because of the strengths that he has, regardless of his position, I think he could do a very good job. Yes, I think Trent. I'll say that on the other side, just to be fair. I think Trent could be one of the world's best wingers / wing backs if you trained him in that position. Because you take the number one thing that he doesn't do well, which is defending, almost completely out of the picture.
Can
He becomes
I
automatically
read some
very good.
stats? Because I heard a quote out there: "Men and women lie, numbers don't."
Here we go.
So I do, as the stats man, have some numbers for you. We'll start with your boy Trent. Last season, he had 3 goals. It's pretty good for a right back.
Who has the most assists in the Premier League?
Can
Joe?
I finish? Thank
This
you.
man is basing it on
Can-
one season.
Can I finish?
I can have a good season at Ben White's position.
He had 7 assists. It's pretty good. Completed passes 80%. Shots per match 2.15. Shots per goal 18.67. Minutes per goal 1,089. Ben White. He had 4 goals. I think that's more than 3, but okay. He had 5 assists, so Trent did get him there. So Trent has him on goal involvements 10-9. Crushed him. Completed pass.
Wait. You crush him by 1 goal, but when you have 2 more assists and you have more goal
I never said he
involvements-
crushed. I never said Ben White crushed him.
You said last time I checked, it's more than 1 goal.
I said it's more than 3.
Yeah, you had 4, 5. So that's 2.
Completed passes 86% to Trent's 80. Shots per match 1.16. So he's only shooting 1 time. Shots per goal 5.5 to Trent's 18. And minutes per goal 1,069 to Trent's 1,089. And Arsenal gave up the least amount of goals in the league last year.
Now do me a favor, because numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
How many goals does Trent have overall, and how many assists does Trent have overall in the Premier League?
Do you just want to look at all time before White was even in the league, or when he was still playing with Leeds in the Championship, or
Whose fault is that?
just compare the two?
Well, what
When
do
they
you want
were
me to
both
do?
in the league together.
Trent, so that's a Trent low year last year that you're comparing because he favors Ben White.
I'm just picking
But
the
when
most
Trent
recent
had the
year,
most
Georgie.
assists,
I'm picking the most recent year.
when he had the most assists
Just
in the
picking the
Premier
most
League and
recent
broke
year.
records, nobody talks about that?
This is a what have you done for me lately type business. So we should just continue to sign people based on how they did 5 years ago,
Not 5 years ago.
3 years ago.
Whatever years you want to put it. No matter which way you put it, Trent is a better player.
Well, we just looked at it and he's not.
Well,
And that's one of the ways I
Whoa,
put it.
whoa, okay. Hold
How-
on. Let me interject here. And I'm an
those
Arsenal fan.
stats are
And I'm an
no.
Arsenal fan.
How are those not?
Couple things. First of all, you also gotta let Georgie look up some stats because you can't just pull out some stats and then let Georgie kind of just talk of.
Oh, I don't
based
need
off his
stats.
memory.
He broke the
No.
Premier League
But
record
I
in
think it's
assists.
important. Second of all, I'm gonna say that whether you think one player is a better player than the other, you can't say that it's miles ahead or anything like that. I think it's a fair discussion to have whether Trent or Ben White would be the number 1 choice for England. I honestly,
They are very close.
I lean a little bit more towards. I'm going to say it this way. I don't think Southgate had made the best decisions, and I think it would be different if there was a different manager with an actual freaking brain who was in there, because I think the choices would have been different. And I honestly think if we would have had a different manager, depending on who it was, Trent probably would have started as a right back. However, I think they would have found a way to fit Kyle Walker in there too.
And left back instead of Trippier.
Yeah, so I think that's
Or
what
they
that's
could've-
what
honestly,
somebody
they
would
should
have done.
played with it. I think they should have played with three center backs
But-
and had Kyle Walker be one of them.
But listen, it's misleading because Gareth Southgate had Trent. If we're actually talking about what Gareth Southgate's plans were, he probably had Trent as like the fourth option as an outside back.
Or had him as a holding back.
Whether that's right or wrong, I agree. I think that's wrong. But we're kind of we're swayed by that because Trent was essentially not so far down the line, but Southgate had a lot of good outside backs that he wanted Trent to play in a different position. But I think if we had an actual smart manager, I think Trent would probably be in the top 2 as far as the outside backs. However, that does get complicated because I do think Ben White, the way he's been playing, and again, you factor in the fact that maybe Saka's playing on that side, a lot of managers would opt for that rather than Trent. But it's all playing style. If Arne Slot, Jurgen Klopp, I'm good. Of anybody who has a similar style to maybe not Arne Slot, but Jurgen Klopp and anybody who has a similar style to that, like a little bit more heavy metal, a little bit more forward, because England was playing the wrong way, I think they'd opt for Trent as an outside back. I think you want a little bit more balance, you pick Ben White.
So Kyle Walker's out.
No. What I'm saying is you find a way to fit Kyle Walker in, whether it's put Kyle Walker on the other side. You also can't argue too much against Kyle Walker because the guy has been one of the very few consistent starters over a dominant team in Manchester City. And almost every player will tell you that one of the hardest players to play against is Kyle Walker because he's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
He's fast, he's strong, he's smart, good on the ball.
I also think it talks to, like, his pep is so hard on people mentally over time, but Kyle Walker's been able to stay there the entire time. And I think he might be one of the only people who's been there.
Pep wanted him out, too. He was,
at one point.
At one point, he wanted, like 3 years ago, he was like, have a pitch or whatever, and he worked his way back into it,
which I don't think is easy. Do I think Trent's trash? No. Do I think Trent's any of those things? No. I do like watching Georgie get a little bit fired up because I think it's very easy to get you going. But I also think, dude, and it's one of those things that, like, I watch Arsenal all the time, so obviously I'm always going to be favoring the players on Arsenal. However, I do think Ben White is far out of the conversation where he should be, which is one of the best defenders, not only in the Premier League, but I do think he's one of the best defenders in the world. And watching games, people don't like to play against him either. He works the entire game, gets up and down. He's technically a lot better than people give him credit for in terms of first touch, in terms of decision making, in terms of being able to get out of trouble when he gets into it, whether that's when he steps into the midfield and things like that. And I don't know why he doesn't get more attention or more looks from a lot of people. But to me, watching him, there's not much more you'd want, in my opinion, from a right back than what you get out of Ben White because of all of the things that I just mentioned. And I think a lot of people look at Trent and the goals that he can score or the crosses that he can whip in or the free kicks that he takes. And like, oh, man, this guy's amazing. However, he does also get beat consistently. I shouldn't say consistently. That's probably unfair. He does get beat on more than one occasion, 1v1, where that same thing doesn't happen to Ben White.
Ben White was actually one of my favorite players, and he knows this.
Yeah, Georgie said good things about Ben White when he came to Arsenal.
He's amazing.
When Ben White signed for Arsenal, we were at DCFC at the time. I walked into the locker room, the coach's locker room, and I said, dude, you guys just got Ben White for 40 mil from Brighton. And the prior year, I was watching Ben White, and I was like, dude, this guy is unbelievable. And he played defensive mid, which is why I really liked him at the time, because he was playing the defensive mid role for Brighton, because somebody got hurt, and he had to step in from center back position. He stepped into defensive mid. He was playing in there and just like winning every single time, headers, whatever, everything. And they'll just pass it out to, I think it was McAllister, actually. If I'm not, no, it might have been somebody
Could have been.
McAllister used to come off the bench at one point, more attacking role, but I used to like Ben White. I remember that day.
Used to, man.
40 million.
All right, well, let's move on. Everybody take a chill pill out here, all right?
I can't tell if it's...
Clearly, I'm the voice of reason around here.
I can't tell if it's hot up here or...
Clearly, I'm the voice of reason here.
For
all right.
Sure.
Let's
get you a Ziyech jersey.
I'm going to get a Ziyech jersey.
I'm going to get you a Morocco one.
Give me a Morocco Ziyech jersey. I'll rock that. I'm a big fan of Ziyech, man.
I
like Ziyech.
Nobody is saying nothing about Ziyech. Ziyech is a good player.
Okay, we're going to get dragged back into it.
Here we go. All right, so obviously the first game of the Premier League just happened, which is fantastic. I'm super excited because it's going to be a long season ahead of us, but it is shaping up to be one of the more interesting seasons. I wouldn't say in a while, but I feel like we're finally getting to the point where we're starting to. People are worried. Manchester City fans are worried that they're going to be knocked off their perch a little bit. Yeah. You have a lot of teams with making big time changes. Chelsea, Liverpool. You got Arsenal now knocking at the door. Manchester City. So, all in all, just to say, I'm really excited about the Premier League. So let's kind of, precap the Premier League that's coming up, and the fixtures that are coming up this week. The biggest one,
preview.
The biggest one is Sunday. Chelsea against Manchester City to start the Premier League. We watched them preseason. Georgie, give me your predictions for that game.
Chelsea wins.
Really? Why is that?
Key players missing from City.
Yep.
Way too many key players. That was the problem.
Yep.
And probably the most important players missing.
Rodri.
Yeah.
Which is, yes, he
Foden,
never loses when he's with Manchester City,
Phil
right?
Foden is probably not going to play much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to start because I don't think he's ready. Obviously, Alvarez is gone. Oscar Bob injured. So now you have Jack Wilshere's 50% as well. It's unsure whether he's going to be fit.
Grealish.
Yeah. Yes. Jack Wilshere. Jack Grealish, yeah.
Two players on the same level. Yes, it's okay.
And then you're left with Haaland up top. Obviously, you have Doku. If Grealish can't play. Kovacic, very blah team. However, it is Pep. That style is not going to change too much. The center backs should be Akanji. Ake should be back. Kyle Walker should be fine.
You got Guardiola too, and
Guardiola.
Diaz.
So defensively, they're going to be sound. However, attacking wise, is going to be. I just don't like if you line up Grealish, Kovacic, McAtee. I think that's going to be one of the youngsters that's going to play in the midfield.
But who are your three in the middle? Do you think you have Kovacic as your six with Silva and McAtee in front of him?
It has to be those.
It has to because you don't have really. And he clearly doesn't like Nunez.
Yeah.
Calvin Phillips is gone. He can't even start.
Yeah. So
he might start against you guys.
It's going to be a very, very tough game for City.
Yep.
So I think City gets the dub. Easy.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you really think about it, though, like the one team that can be missing a lot of players and still be really freaking good is Manchester City out of all the teams in the Premier League. And when you break it down to the biggest one is Rodri. Rodri is really, in my opinion, Rodri is really the only one that makes a big, big difference.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about Jack Grealish hasn't started in a while. He's a player that typically comes off the bench. He started in preseason because nobody was back or whatever. Oscar Bob was a player that has a lot of potential, did really well in preseason, but still was not a player that you would have, a few weeks ago, you would have said, oh, he's going to get a lot of playing time in the season. He's going to be So I really think the only other one is Phil Foden, right? And Phil Foden's you're not sure. He might end up playing a lot more than you think he's going to end up playing.
But who do you play wide?
You still have Haaland. Well, I'm just thinking about in general, right? You still have Haaland. Doku. You still have Doku. You still have Bernardo Silva, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake. Is John Stones healthy?
He should be.
Yeah. All those. So John Stones. John Stones. So exactly. And then they have Ederson.
John Stones will probably play 6. That's probably what he'll do.
To be honest, he could play in the 6.
So when you really write it down, Manchester City still has a better squad than Chelsea, and Chelsea might have all their players, but they haven't shown that they could be a good team together. And I think
Salvio from Man City,
the
guy from Girona.
Yep.
Yeah.
They bought from themselves.
Yeah. But when you put it down on paper, I think Chelsea will be good. I agree with Pep's statement. Pep said, give Enzo time. It's going to take a little bit of time, but when you'll see he's a good manager. I agree with that. I think it's way too early. And I think Manchester City, I don't think they're going to smash them, but I do think it's going to be pretty clear that there's still some holes in Chelsea's system. Not holes, but just mistakes from not having enough time with Enzo, with all their players.
Especially with center backs.
Yeah.
It's going
to be tough, man. Rodri, I agree with both of you in terms of like the Rodri. I thought City would win pretty easily, even with Oscar Bob getting injured and missing some of these other players, until I saw the news about Rodri. The only way Chelsea can win is if they don't do what they did all preseason, which is just give the ball away in super attacking areas. Because even with the players that we mentioned, because like if I'm City and I'm Pep, I'm looking at this and I'll say I'll put out my normal defenders. I'll probably put John Stones as a 6. I'll play with Kovacic in there. I'll play with Silva probably out wide, McAtee in front, Haaland up top, and then Doku on one wing, and then my normal defensive grouping. That will keep Chelsea at bay enough that we only will probably have to score 1 or 2 goals to win. And as long as Chelsea doesn't give goals away, I do think that they can score a goal or two, but it's going to come down to if they fix the mistakes that they were making all preseason. And it doesn't, from everything we watched, look like that will happen. I do think it'll be a high-scoring game just because of how much Chelsea gives the ball away. But to me, if City can come out of that game and get 3 points, it does, as an Arsenal fan, make me nervous in terms of what the season will look like, because it's like, dang, they're still down all these players. They play a top team, and I think is it at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah.
Like going to Stamford Bridge, down Rodri, down potentially Foden. You said Grealish is out?
50%.
50%
right now.
Yeah, they said he wasn't sure. They weren't sure if he was going to be 100% by the time
they got rid of Alvarez, and then I think they were expecting someone like Oscar Bob to step into Alvarez's role, and then bam, he's out now for months. But if Pep can pull a rabbit out of the hat here and kind of get them through these first few game weeks and only be 3-4 points back, title race is on. But
yeah,
and they're going to buy someone. So there's no way they don't go into a transfer, though.
I'm also interested to see if Savio starts and when he does, because he did great at Girona, obviously, last season. He did great, I think, at some of the times he came on for Brazil. I think he was one of their best players in the Copa.
I like him a lot.
I like him a lot. And he's super young. I think he's 20 years old. But we'll see if Pep... It might force Pep's hand to start him more than he normally does, because, Pep normally likes to keep people back. So we'll see.
But that's another thing that when you look at, like, if you put out that lineup out, you look at City, and you're like, oh, this is still a pretty good lineup. The problem is their bench. Usually you associate Man City with the depth they have, and that's when changes. The games change when those players like Grealish comes in fresh or Doku comes fresh, and they're just running at people. If you look at that bench with all those players on there, there's not going to be those players that come and make a difference, especially this early on in the season when we saw today Man United making 2 center-back substitutions because 2 cramps.
Yeah.
Like that's the key of how fit are they. The starters, can they last 80 plus minutes?
Because a lot of those players we just mentioned, Ake, Stones, Akanji, are all coming off of a shortened preseason, not elongated, but later holiday. It's a good point. I
will say, I think that's where Chelsea has the upper hand. Is if Chelsea, the longer the game stays 0-0, I think the higher the chances that Chelsea wins the game. Because obviously they're playing at home. I think with a 45-man roster, you have a decent amount of subs in there that we're going to help you. And I think Manchester City, with it being the first game of the season, they don't have them. They don't have the impact players that they typically have. And if they do, it's players that are not at 100% because they just haven't had enough time in the preseason yet. Otherwise, they'd be starting. Right?
Coaching question then for you on that. If you're Maresca, do you think that, and do you say,
park it?
Partially park it, but also, do I keep Cole Palmer out and I put him on at halftime or in the 50th or 60th minute to go at tired legs? Because if you start him, he's probably not going to play the full 90.
Why not? Palmer specifically, because he didn't play
in the Euros.
He didn't play in the Euros, so he's fresh. He trained, and I'm sure when you're not playing games, you're not going to be as exhausted. At the same time, I think it's quite easy for him to get back into preseason because he was training throughout the whole summer and then just maybe took a little bit of a break and then just goes right back into a training mode. So I think Cole Palmer specifically should start.
And should be match fit,
and should be match fit, match ready. And I don't think, maybe personally I might approach it differently. I do think it's as a coach, it's very important to look at the opposition, especially at that level, look at what they do well and what they don't do well and try to adjust your playing style a little bit. I don't see Enzo Maresca being one of those managers that's going to be like, oh, because we're playing Manchester City, we're going to have to play like this. I think he's going to be very big Ainge in terms of this is who we are, this is how we're going to play.
Hold the high line.
The system. I don't know about the high line, but for sure, I think he's going to want to build out. And then, I think Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez might be stuck under a little bit of pressure there, for sure.
Put your money on Cole Palmer to score a goal.
Yep. If you were a betting man, which Georgie is.
A PK. probably
Do
going
that.
to get one, so might as well.
And he's going to be, he's going to be excited to go because he didn't get a chance to prove it at the Euros,
Yeah.
right? So
well,
he's gonna,
Andy's playing against the club that didn't want him. I shouldn't say didn't
Yeah.
want him, but wasn't giving him the
Yeah.
chance. So,
Yeah. So there you go.
lot of storylines there. The big storylines, though,
which is
tomorrow morning, 7:30.
7:30.
Two teams that'll be battling for the relegation zone.
At this point,
Ipswich.
Does Trent start as a 6? Is Trent even playing?
this should be.
Does that game make you nervous? Newly promoted team
Yes.
at home. Like, you have to go away to a club that you know it's going to be bouncing in the stadium.
Early kickoff.
Early kickoff. Like,
Love
it's
those.
New coach. Obviously, Arne Slot's first game, so there will be some, like, it's a trap game, in my opinion, written all over it in terms of painful for Georgie on Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's not going to be a fun morning, to be honest. I think it's going to be very close. A lot of people are thinking like 3-4-0, but it's not.
Yeah.
I think Ipswich are going to come out
Flying.
buzzing just because they're so excited. And just like every team that comes up and they have their first home game, they're going to be excited and pumped up. And then as the season goes, it kind of slow down a little bit. But tomorrow's going to be a tough one.
Reminds me of Arsenal Brentford that season, remember? Brentford's first season out right after COVID. Arsenal lost away to Brentford 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, it usually happens.
Arteta's, I think, first full season with us.
I think it'll be a good showing to see how committed the players are to Arne Slot's playing style and how, because the way that they played in the preseason, the way we saw them play was very, very organized, very understanding of the passing patterns, of the positioning. Unfortunately, he didn't have the players that he wanted, because I know obviously Endo he didn't do very well, and I think in a perfect world Endo's not starting for Liverpool in that position. But it was very clear what he wanted. I'm curious to see when it does get hard for them, if it does get hard for them against Ipswich, whether they're going to be able to stick to that philosophy or things are just going to go haywire, and then all of a sudden it's just going to be a game that's completely stretched out. Liverpool back to the heavy metal. Players in halftime yelling at Arne Slot that we should be going back to the heavy metal Klopp style. Klopp was better. I don't know, but it'll be a good game. Definitely an interesting one to watch because, like you said, I know at some point Georgie's going to go on a 20-minute rant in the middle of the season about how many early kickoffs Liverpool has.
Already, man. Give me a damn break.
Yeah,
Already.
but at least it wasn't directly after an international break, which technically it kind of was, but you had a bit of a break.
Yeah,
You had a bit
thank
of a break.
God.
But
Still, fuck's sake.
we'll see. And Georgie's, you got something to look forward to because you haven't made a single signing yet. So it's not like you're like, oh, we're done with our signings.
Yeah.
Like we're like, that something is coming, that they're gonna have to sign some players,
I don't
regardless
know.
if it's a 6 or not.
I don't know.
Even if it's not a 6, they'll sign someone just
I
to keep the
hope.
fans happy.
I hope.
You guys have all this money.
Yeah. Well, apparently,
You guys
we
have all
don't.
this money that you just got.
Yeah, but I don't know. I hope we make a signing. I really do. But
You will.
the reports keep saying no. So
I think you guys will be fine. You'll make a signing.
You will. You'll make one.
Arsenal Wolves tomorrow as well, 10 a.m.
listen, are you guys watching that game?
Yeah, I gotta watch it on my phone though. I got
Same.
a tournament, so I got a game at 9, which is perfect. Game at 9, 10. We'll end at 9:50 because it's the little kids. Watch the game, and my next game's at 11:30, I think. So I'll miss probably the second half, but hopefully the game's over by then.
Yeah, I'm gonna get straight on my phone as soon as my game's over at 9, or my game will be done at like 10:15.
Watch my boy, Joao Gomez.
Oh, you love him, huh? You want him.
One of my favorite players.
You want him, huh?
He's so good. He's so good.
Wolves will be good this year.
Wolves
I
will
think
be good.
Wolves have always been pretty good. Like they always finish. They're always like battling in most of the season. They're always battling like 10th to 7th, somewhere around there.
We didn't even talk about Pedro Neto going to
That's
Chelsea.
right, Chelsea.
Because Chelsea signs a player every other
He's
day.
legit.
You can't keep up with Chelsea.
Pedro
signings,
Neto
to
is
be fair.
legit.
His injuries are he's not gonna even play. I don't think because he's injured.
Well, it won't matter because he won't have to play that many games with how many players they have.
Yeah, that's true.
They only need him once every month.
But that's crazy. That's a good sign. Well, I don't know if it's a good
And they're not
sign.
done.
They're not
They're not done. So they got
It's
Pedro
insane.
Neto, and they're trying to get Victor Osimhen as well.
But
if they sell
back to
Lukaku.
back to what I was gonna say, Wolves are gonna miss Pedro Neto because that was the guy for them that
Yeah.
drives the ball forward, attacks, sprints, does everything for them.
I don't think I'm crazy saying this, and I think it's somewhat of an easy prediction. Obviously, things can always go wrong, but I do expect Arsenal to be the one team that just comes out flying, smashes Wolves. Maybe not smashes, but very controlled, like couple goals in the first 15, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and then we just control the rest of the game. It'll be
Okay.
a solid performance. The last 2 years we've done that. Preseason we've been absolutely flying. Like you mentioned, Wolves missing one big player or two big players, and
But would you rather not start off quick?
no,
No.
you got to. You have to, because
It's yeah.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I was gonna say to me, I think starting off quick obviously is important. If you could pick either, do you want to finish strong or start off quick? Like I think you'd obviously pick between the two, finish strong, just because there's more to play for January through May than there is the first few months. You know, because we normally fall out in those competitions. But I also think that Arteta did a great job last season in terms of getting the group ready to fly again once the international break once the Christmas time was over. Because if you remember, that's when we went on a real tear, and it was only until we had a few.
Of course, I remember.
We had a Salt Bay.
Salt Bay.
We had a few injuries, and we dropped a few points in late March. I want to say early April, if my memory serves me correct me. But yeah, I want to start out flying. Absolutely. Because I also think if you can get out to a big enough lead, if you have a deep enough team, which we're starting to get now with some of these signings, you can start to taper some of the minutes early to give your players more energy towards the tail of the season. Last season, I think our top players ran out of legs.
Yeah. And I think the only way you beat Manchester City is if you start well and finish well.
Yeah.
All right. That's the only way really you can beat them. The first real good year, 2 years ago, we started flying, and then we had a massive drop off. And then we ended up losing the league by like 12 or 13 points or whatever when Manchester City just won all their games. Manchester City did the exact same thing the next year, where starting in January, literally just didn't lose a game like all year. Or not didn't lose a game, but that's when they got a lot of their points. Last year, Arsenal did a little bit better, where we didn't just have a complete nosedive. We had a few bad results.
We also started the season worse too last year.
Yeah. But we finished the season pretty well. Like, we finished the season really close on Manchester City's heels. We just couldn't catch up and make up the final points in the end or whatever. So I think we've improved from that sense, where we didn't have a massive drop where we're just like, season's over with 2 weeks to go or 3 weeks to go or whatever. But I think if you look at the trajectory of where Arsenal's at, this is the year that they should, as long as they have a better year than last year, will win the Premier League. But
are you guys the favorites to win the Premier League right now?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know if Vegas has that, but I think
if you're not a Manchester City fan and you're not an Arsenal fan, Arsenal are the favorites. That's what I think. If you're unbiased.
Well, if you're an Arsenal fan, you don't think you're the favorites?
Well, no, but I'm saying we're biased because we're Arsenal fans, right? Like last year we would have said the same thing. And Manchester City's always going to say that they're the favorites. But I think if you're unbiased, you're looking at Arsenal as probably the most dangerous threat right now. And I think that's why tomorrow I can pretty confidently say that we should start off flying with a really good performance in week one.
Well, keep in mind, guys, if we win the Premier League this season, this could be our three-peat. Assuming City gets some of these these points to if City gets banished, this would actually be Arsenal's third Premier League in a row.
It's crazy. What year is this for Arteta?
And then we're going for 4, and no one's ever done it.
This should be Arteta's 4th or 5th year, if I'm not mistaken. I think the first year and a half was bad, and then
third official season, 4th, third full season, 4th, because he came partially through COVID. Because we won the FA Cup the COVID year with Aubameyang. Remember, behind closed doors, we beat City and we beat Chelsea. I just remember the games, and there were no fans there.
Arsene Wenger left 2017.
Yeah, and then we had Unai
for 3 years. No,
I can't. But it was only.
Is there anybody else?
No, it was just Unai and Arteta.
We had Unai for a bit.
I don't know what the years are, but I would say I think he had 2. Arteta had 2 or a year and a half where it was like a struggle close to before we had the season where we almost won, surprisingly, and then last year where we almost won again. But
yeah, he came to Arsenal in 2019.
2019.
So
that makes
2019.
sense.
It's the 5th year. Or yeah,
that's right.
It's gonna be into the 5th year.
That makes sense.
Is this make or break?
No.
Do you think the players are because you can't keep up if you guys have been really good for 3 years now?
I think we can keep up.
You think Saka and all those players are gonna be able to sustain the level and
not necessarily the players, but I think the infrastructure that we have now with Arteta and Edu is working really well.
Yeah.
So I think the moment one of these players, Saka or Martinelli or those guys, really start dropping off, which I don't think they will because they're all still pretty young. I think we just have a good enough system now to replace and start patching up holes whenever they pop up, or prevent them from happening in the future. But I do think Arsenal is due to win it this year for sure.
I feel like we've even kind of done that already in terms of not liking how well Martinelli's performed and made Because now, if you think about it, we really have two backups to Martinelli and Trossard and Jesus who could both slide in and start at that position. So, I think the machine is very well set up, very well oiled, and ready to run. And it's just going to come down to, can we last the whole season?
Man City's not winning, I'm telling you right now. So it's up to you guys to...
It's hard to say, though, man. Because they're so good, though. They've been doing it for so long, and they're so good. It's hard to... You can never rule them out completely.
You can't.
You think... I think that every once in a while, no matter how good you are, you're going to have a season where you struggle. So I think it could be that this might be the season where Manchester City finishes 3rd or 4th, for example, let's say. But again, one of those teams that either that happens, they could win it very easily.
The reason why I think Pep is gone after this year. I think all the turmoil around the club with these charges and everything now that's heating up and everybody's talking about it more and more, it's kind of the focus isn't on the field. It's focused on everywhere else. All these players, KDB, Ederson, all these players are being linked left and right of leaving, which they probably won't, but linked with leaving because, and everybody is associating with, they know it's coming. So it's just a matter of time. And it's very hard to focus when there's a big cloud like that.
Sure.
And especially when we're going to know, like, this calendar, like, this season, like, what happens. So that's the crazy part. Like, it's not like, we're going to start looking into it, and then in 3 years we're going to figure it out.
The one thing that you can say about the history of football is that dynasties don't last forever. So, Barcelona, at times where, like, Real Madrid's getting to, I don't know if they'd say getting to the end of it, but Manchester City, at some point, they're going to have some bad years. Mm-hmm. And I agree with Georgie. I think it's kind of coming to an end because Pep has already kind of mentioned that, yes, at some point he's going to leave Manchester City. And he said, maybe not next year, but I am thinking about leaving. Or he said it in certain words that was like, I'm still going to stay, guys, don't worry. But yes, I've thought about it. With all the charges, if they don't successfully get out of all of these charges, I think that's where the ship.
Yeah.
I think they will, because I think Manchester City's got enough money to where they're not going to get, like, at most they'll get a points deduction and they'll deduct them points for, let's say, next season, and they'll finish in 3rd place, for example, or 4th place, or something stupid like that. It'll be minimal, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to get relegated. But I do think with all the negative press and all that stuff that, you might have some players who are like, we got to get off the boat before we're stuck in League Two.
I also, it is wild to think, like, all of those things are true in terms of all the, like, headwinds that they have to face. But they also have to face the headwind of, like, we've now done all the things. We've won the Champions League. We've won the treble. We've won the Premier League, which no one's done 4 years in a row. Like, at some point as a player and as a manager, and heck, even as a fan, it's kind of like, now what? Yeah. You know? Obviously, they're still going to show up to the game, still cheer loud, still play hard, but you need that edge a lot of times to win things.
You're associating Man City fans for showing up to games and cheering hard? I'll be honest. I don't think I've met an actual Man City fan as I'm, like, walking down the street.
Here's the thing. There's a difference between authentic fans and people who quantity of fans. There's a lot. Manchester City has a lot of fans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're just not. They're just
like kids growing up now. Well,
they don't bleed.
Yeah. They're just like, Haaland, my favorite player. I'm gonna wear the jersey. I like City.
Right. Yeah. But they do have. I mean, nowadays everyone's a Manchester City fan.
My dream. I remember when all the players were signing in 2008. My dream was always to play for Man City. I used to watch them when I was growing up. No, you weren't, bro. They're League Two.
Does anybody remember?
Robinho?
What's his name? Stephen Ireland?
Oh, hell yeah. My Baldy. He was so good.
He's like, obviously that's when they were bad.
Yeah.
And I still remember because I was like, I remember the bald guy in Manchester City.
I liked him a lot. There's a Bulgarian guy. I'm a true Man City fan. That's it.
Who's the Bulgarian guy?
Petrov.
Oh, yeah. I remember Petrov.
Yeah.
Petrov was like the poor man's James Milner.
I was thinking Craig Bellamy was like the poor man James Milner.
Craig Bellamy?
Yeah.
What a guy.
Robinho, though. Let's not get into the Robinho.
Did you guys ever hear the quote? I don't know if it was true or not, but Robinho said he signed for Manchester and he thought it was United.
Yeah,
he didn't realize there was another. I don't know if it's true or not.
There's no way. Like when a guy comes and approaches you and he's wearing like blue color scheme and stuff, or like the contract paper has their logo and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think that happens at that level. Your agent gets tricked too. How does your agent get tricked? But anyway, some good Premier League matches coming up this weekend. We will do a recap at some point at the end of the weekend or early in the next week. We'll try and the aim is trying to upload 2 of these a week. If we could do 2 of these a week, I think we're cooking. We're cooking.
Go through all of them
less.
and let's see. Let's pick a winner between everyone.
All right. So really quickly, so we don't take too long on this section, but so we have obviously Manchester United, Fulham today. We have Ipswich, Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yep.
Damn.
Arsenal, Wolves. Arsenal. Everton, Brighton.
Brighton.
Yep.
I'm going to go Brighton.
What? Your favorite coach, Sean Dyche. Come on, man.
Listen, at least we know that all of the Everton players will be wearing shin guards. At least we know that. Newcastle, Southampton.
Newcastle.
I'm going to go Newcastle. Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth.
Forest.
I'm going to go Bournemouth.
I'm going Bournemouth. They're finished off really. Oh, they just lost to Lanky though.
Yeah, they just lost Lanka.
Yeah.
And it's at Forest. I'm going to go Forest.
I'm going Bournemouth.
I'm going to stick with Bournemouth.
Michael B. Jordan.
West Ham, Aston Villa. And I'm going to go with West Ham.
I'm going to go Villa.
I'm going to go Villa.
Speaking of that, before we finish, and then Sunday we got
and keep
Brentford.
in mind, Forest also has NES.
Watkins is out
Santos.
for Villa though.
Brentford, Crystal Palace on Sunday.
Brentford, just because Palace lost
I'm going to go Brentford.
Olise and Mateta probably won't play.
I'm
Because
going to go Crystal Palace.
And Mark
Gahey?
Gay is going to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that official or just rumored still?
Rumors, but
They're trying to get him.
yeah.
Chelsea, Manchester City.
Chelsea.
I'm going to go Manchester City.
I'll go draw.
And
Oh yeah,
then
we haven't.
well, there's going to be some draws for sure,
Yeah.
I think. Chelsea and Manchester City, and then Leicester and Tottenham.
Spurs.
Yeah.
Leicester are going to be the Sheffield this year.
I don't know about that, but
You
yeah,
think so?
they have made
Yeah.
some. They have lost a little bit.
They've lost. Their coach just
Obviously, jump ship.
let it jump ship, and they haven't really made any signings.
Yeah.
Big Ainge,
They got Jamie Vardy.
the high line.
Red Bull.
Tottenham is going to win 6-5.
Imagine.
So before we end, I did want to talk, since we're still on the Premier League topic. This is a big one. Who is the dark horse of the Premier League this season? Who do you think is going to be someone that's going to surprise people where they stand? A couple years ago, that was Newcastle, kind of, because new ownership had come in, but they did really well. They finished Champions League. Last year, was it Aston Villa last year?
Yeah.
Who is it going to be this year?
So we're saying like someone that wasn't in the top 4 probably last
like
season.
somebody who you think maybe hasn't been very good lately, or just is going to achieve. Like we did this once, right? The overachievers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think that's going to be? Who's going to surprise everyone? I'll go first while you guys think about it. West Ham.
I'll say
Damn it.
Yeah.
West Ham has made some good signings,
Yeah, they
very
have.
good signings. That again, I don't think are signings that are going to win you the Premier League, but they're definitely signings that are going to get you fighting for Champions League and Europa League spots. And I think West Ham haven't always. Last year, I think they did pretty well. In previous years, they've always been mid to lower on the table. So I'm thinking that West Ham finishes as high as 5th. I'm going to say they'd finish 5th this season.
What did they finish last year though? 7th.
7th or 8th. I can't remember what they finished in the last. Let me double check real quick.
Almost because Thomas wanted David Moyes out because they weren't in the
Um,
Champions League. Well, you're
They
looking
finished
at
9th. They finished 9th last year.
I'll give you 2. One is a big club, and I think that they'll finish in the top 4. And if you look at the second half of the season as a standalone thing, I think they would compete for like title in terms of points. That's Chelsea. And then I think Wolves will make a run at a European spot, probably Europa League. Even like I think that they could be fighting for the top 4 at some point, but then will fall off. But those are my 2.
And let me guess, the reason why you said Chelsea is the fact that they don't have any European football this year, do they?
They don't have any European football.
Because they do. They finished in 6th, so they have the conference or whatever.
Conference League, yeah. But
with the roster that they have, and the fact
got-
that they're not playing as many games as some of these other guys,
they could play in the Europa League, Conference League, Champions League, and the Premier League and still have players left over.
Yeah.
But no, I also just think that what Maresca has done in the past and what he will do with them and with those players, and he has so many players to pick from, it's like I can kind of test out different people and then we can slowly sell players. Like if they really think about it, they don't have to buy anybody else.
Yeah.
They have so many players at every position.
Don't worry, a transfer ban is coming, so they won't have to.
Also true. So, well, smart. Buy everybody,
that'll
and
still
then
be set until the end of
Yeah.
the transfer ban, right?
and then just ride out the transfer ban. But no, I think that they'll figure it out, and I think that they'll be really, really good the back half of the season.
Fantastic. All right.
Wait,
What about him?
Oh, sorry.
What
my bad.
what
I
plays?
thought he said somebody.
What plays did Brighton finish last year?
Brighton finished in 11th place last year.
Brighton.
So Brighton.
Brighton are going to be 6th.
If Mitoma can stay healthy too the whole season.
They just signed Mente. They just signed 100 players as well.
Yeah.
Not like their other players.
I think their biggest question is can they stay consistent? Because they'll have some really good moments, but then they'll also have some moments where they
And
don't
just
have.
because Thomas isn't here to back this, to talk shit about this claim. West Ham's manager gets sacked first.
Oh,
That's my prediction.
wow.
Because I'm a David Moyes diehard.
Bring Moyes back.
Bring Moyes back.
Bring Moyes back, baby. All right. Cool. That's an interesting take. We'll see at the end of the year. We'll figure it out.
I think if we're going to wrap this thing up, because before we do, I feel like what we do need to make sure that we do at least every single episode is hop into the FPL and prop out and call out the people who are in the top spots.
I don't know if we're
and
allowed
the people
to read
who are
some
in the
of these
bottom.
names.
And the people who are in the bottom for sure.
Well, we currently have
You can't.
a ton of people tied at 0.
Yeah, you can't right now because it's only one.
But one day, I do have to prop out a few people. We have, these names are good though.
Yeah, some of these names. Are,
These names are good. Endo, my tether. Daniel McLaughlin with 12 points. Madeforliverpool.com. Is that you, Georgie?
That's a bot. That's a bot.
I saw that. I need to check
Check it
what
out.
the website is. That's a good
Also at 12
advertisement.
points. Those are two tied for the top spot. And I'll go here through anyone.
Yeah,
we'll
but
give a few
you
more.
can't give them a shout out just now because they got an unfair advantage. They only got 12 points because they had players on the teams that played today.
Well,
We got to give them shout outs at the end of the week.
Well, we can give shout outs every day. I don't see why not. Then we also
Not
have
fair.
some of these. I also want to get through some of these names, bro.
We should-
We got top of the slots.
Love it.
11 points.
You do have the slots happening, lad.
Yeah. I'm sorry,
yeah.
Nick Jackson. 10
That's a good one.
points.
That's Eddie. That's my boy Eddie.
Yeah.
Jewel 24, 25, 10. Dark Saeed. Slots happening. Lily Whites.
That's the guy. Yeah.
Some good
Vilti
names.
Villaboas. All at 10 points.
Don't read the Xerxes one.
And then we have Fake Pundit at 9 points. Javi.
That's not me.
I know. But someone's in here as Fake Pundit.
And they're mocking you.
They're mocking me. That's probably the guy who keeps telling me I'm a water boy.
Dude, these names are good, man.
Yeah, but we'll give shout out. We will give shout out
Can't
to the
park
winners and
there,
stuff.
sir.
That's right. I love watching those videos. But we'll give some shout outs for sure. Winners and stuff like that. We will have prizes periodically for those people who are, if somebody's top of the table for a long time, they should get a prize. They shouldn't have to wait until the end of the season to get a prize. So we'll sort that out. All right, really quickly because this is gonna be the longest episode because of the Ziyech.
Me weak. Palmer sweaty.
That's a good one too.
All right, Joe, do you got your segment or what?
Yeah, I do. I'm
right,
sorry. I'm distracted. I'm deep in these. Hey, great work with the names, boys and girls.
Join our fantasy league.
Yeah.
Description. We'll have
Click
the
the
links and
link.
everything. So we're going to the trading card segment. Sports cards. Joe typically gives us a player throughout the history of football, and we have to guess what the highest sports card or the highest football card for that player ever sold was.
So, because of all the hate that was happening today in the episode as we were arguing and yelling at each other back and forth,
Love it.
$5 for Ziyech card.
I felt like it was the right thing to do to pick two of the most hated, in my opinion, players that are out there. But some of them I think they're both loved, but also hated.
Bruno?
Ooh, he did not make this list.
Damn.
We'll go with one of the players who I loved him when he was at Arsenal. And then when he left, I hated him.
Nah, already know. Van Persie.
It is Robin Van Persie. Scored some amazing goals for Arsenal. Absolutely amazing goals.
And Netherlands.
And the Netherlands as well. Yep. What was the price of his highest sports card sold for? Robin Van Persie. Georgie.
Yeah, go ahead, Georgie.
4,000.
Okay.
I am going to say 2,500. He's like more of a niche.
Yeah.
You
type
both
player.
overshot it by a lot. $425.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I win. Not Price is Right rules today. All right.
Another hated player for some of his on-field antics. Georgie loves this player.
Suarez.
Yes.
Balotelli.
I might give bonus points if you guys guess the player I'm going with here. This is good.
Just give us some hints.
I like that. I like that.
So Georgie has 2 points.
Oh, yeah, I win no matter what.
I'm already way too far behind anyway.
What is the most expensive Luis Suarez card ever sold according to Microsoft Copilot?
If Joe bought it, it would be like $1 if Joe bought it. Luis Suarez, I'm going to say there was a South American there somewhere who paid a lot of money for it. but not too much. I'm going to say $3,200. Georgie?
$4,000 again.
$998.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah. It's
Well,
all over the place.
I will tell you, it is the interesting thing with this whole sports card thing. Like when you look at what American football cards and basketball cards sell for, and you compare it to what soccer cards sell for, the price difference is absolutely insane. Soccer is slowly catching up. But for anyone that is out there, I would highly suggest, if you are interested in collecting sports cards, you can get some cheap soccer cards that I think will drastically increase in value over time.
Name me 5 players right now that you think are going to skyrocket. By the way, I'm going to blame him for Oscar Bob. He bought the card.
Dude, yeah.
That's right.
That's the first one, Oscar Bob. I'm a huge Oscar Bob fan. I think that he is somebody who will absolutely do great. I'll leave out like your Lamine Yamals, your Jude Bellinghams, because I think most people already agree with that. Oscar Bob to me is one. Pedro Neto, I think, is another one. I need 5, you said?
Yeah, 3, 5, 2. Doesn't really matter.
Menu.
Where does Mbappe rank in this?
Kobe Menu. He's so like Mbappe, Haaland, Lamal are a lot of your most expensive cards right now.
So we should buy a 10K Mbappe card just to have it on the stream.
See, I think you could. Yeah,
That's a big risk, in my opinion.
But yeah,
Because he's probably going to be pretty close to his highest already.
Yeah.
I saw a stat. I don't know if it's true. Mbappe is only 4 World Cup goals away from being the World Cup all-time leading goal scorer.
Yeah,
Absolutely
you sent it to us,
mental.
right?
Did I?
Yeah.
It's mental. And he still has the potential to play in 3 World Cups if he wanted.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
It's wild.
All right, cool. So that's that end of that segment. I'm going to finish it off with a fun fact, and then that'll be the podcast for today. However, I don't even know how to title this podcast I'm going to have to put some clickbait. Not even clickbait. I'm going to put like episode 50, the most heated discussion so far in the Next Goal Wins podcast episodes and stuff. Or maybe Poch against to the US.
No. Out of all things, you're going to put Poch to the US?
It's big news right now, man. Big news.
Just put you comparing Zig to Trent.
Georgie lost his head and kicked Joe in the face. All right. I'm going to end it with a fun fact. All right. I'm going to end it with a fun fact. Fun fact is this. It's going to be a fun one. I'm gonna ask you. Well, what I'm saying is, I typically ask you like
The lead in here to this fun fact, ladies and gentlemen.
the question is going to be kind of funny. The question is going to be kind of funny. Ready? So
Yes.
the original prize for winning the World Cup was the Jules Rimet Trophy. Okay, if you guys know that, it's the one that Pele has in that picture holding. It's just like almost like a little, like almost looks like an angel with wings, right? It was stolen in 1966. All right. It was recovered 7 days later by a search dog. Okay, it was found I believe it was found at a park. It was stolen for the second time in 1983 and was never found again. Okay, what was the dog's name?
It's funny. I was like, as a joke while you were saying it, he's going to ask us what this dog's name is.
Pele.
Nope.
Spot.
Nope.
Bud.
Nope. Do you want me to give you a hint?
Yes.
All right. Here's the hint. Georgie's favorite topping on a pizza.
Pepperoni.
Pickle?
It was pickles. So the dog's name was Pickles. That found the Jules Rimet Trophy. The story's kind of crazy. They stole it, right, or whatever, and it was just sitting near a park bench. The dog just found it. It wasn't they found the guy who stole it. Trophy was just there on a park bench.
Someone probably stole it, took some photos with it, then realized what they did. I gotta go put this thing back.
Craziest part about it is that it was stolen again.
And it's never been found?
And it's never been found since then.
Probably Pickles wanted it back.
Well, he's the search dog that found it. Originally I thought the story was that it was found in a park next to a dog named Pickles. But this one says that
Pickles
it
found
was
it.
a search dog. It was recovered by Pickles, the search dog.
Wonder who had someone has it and paid a lot of money for it.
Well, they stole it.
Well, I'm saying the person who stole it sold it to someone.
Right,
sold it.
black market.
Because it's one
or
of those
whatever.
things on the black market. I have the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool. You have people over your house. Hey, you guys want to see some?
Javi has the actual
I have
World
the
Cup.
actual World Cup right there. So, couple of things though, which is kind of funny. Can you imagine? Do you think they trained this dog to find the trophy? Like you have to train a dog to find something, right?
Yeah.
Do you think he was just searching for other stuff and he found it?
No, I think I think
Or do you think they specifically trained him to find the Jules Rimet trophy?
a dog that can find stuff, like you just give it the scent of the thing you want it to find, and then it can just go find. Like, so they probably had it smell whatever it was sitting on. Now go find this.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't
Like I know when they have search dogs search for like drugs or whatever, they test them. They train them on like specifically that drug and like how it smells. They try and mislead them with things that are other drugs and stuff like that, so that they know, like if I'm looking for marijuana, for example, boom, I'm gonna go straight there. I'm gonna ignore all the other stuff. But I don't think they trained them to find the trophy. But I think that they probably just had search teams out or something like that, and the dog was with them and found a trophy or something. I don't know. I don't know how
was it that it got stolen.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Like that's.
But
we need some more backstories with these fun facts.
I know, but the crazy thing about it, well, not the crazy thing, but the cool thing is that because it got stolen, and I think they would have done a redesign anyway, they had to redesign the World Cup trophy.
Mm-hmm.
And they designed what is arguably the most beautiful trophy in the history of sports. That World Cup, there's nothing
the one
better.
you stole.
There's nothing better. That's the real one, by the way, guys. It's over there. Who just won it? Argentina. Messi let me borrow it. So we're just hanging out here in the Next Go Wins podcast. So
It is a gorgeous trophy.
it's a beautiful trophy. Doesn't get any better. Best $100 I've ever spent right there. And I did that. I believe I was in like 7th or 8th grade when I bought that trophy. And it is one of the best investments I've ever made in my entire life. We used it for FIFA tournaments. We used it for like 3v3 tournaments that we did. We'll give it to the person who wins the Fantasy Premier League. No, we won't. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. No chance. We'll cut that out. But yeah, but that's the fun fact. And yes, Georgie does love pickles on his pizza. As crazy as that sounds.
Well, I tried it for the first time in Pittsburgh, and I've never
Loved it.
looked back because I haven't ate it again. So I'll only eat it when I go to Pittsburgh.
All right. Well, that's episode 50 was a good one.
Yeah.
You guys got to admit.
Listen,
Episode 50 was a
also
good
got
one.
announced we're going to the U.S. game.
We are, yes. So,
Oh yeah.
U.S. against, is it Australia or New Zealand?
I don't know.
I can't remember. We forgot. We looked at it. It's in September. USA is playing a friendly.
Is it 11th?
I can't remember. It's on a Tuesday in September. And it is in, where was it? It was close by because we could make
This is
the
a
drive.
great announcement we're having.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a team. We're unsure of when
Let
and
Joe
where
make the- let
or
Joe
who
make
or what.
Joe's the research guy. He does all the research.
Yeah, I do.
But it was close because we
I
said
thought it was Chicago, but I could be wrong.
it was somewhere that we knew we could drive on one day and go. It was definitely wasn't like a long road trip.
Or just like
I think it's New Zealand game.
Yep.
TQL Stadium in Cincy.
Yes, that's right. Cincinnati.
And it is
Cincinnati.
September 10th.
Cincinnati, which I believe is like 3 hours from us, 3-4 hours, somewhere around there.
It's
Anyway,
like- yeah,
it's
a little bit more.
doable.
It's
We
good.
will be there. We're gonna get some tickets. If you guys are at the game, let us know. We're gonna do some hype up stuff before the game as well. Typical stuff that we've done for the preseason games. Get some interviews and all that good stuff. But those are really fun trips for me. I don't know about you guys, but I really did like those trips, getting some content and just enjoying some good quality football. And it'll be the first opportunity that we get to watch Poch in action if he signs early enough, and because they might say he's going to start in November or some crap like that. Cool. All right, almost 2 hours in this episode, the longest episode yet. If you've gotten to this point, you don't even need to subscribe or anything because you're just an absolute legend right now by getting to 2 hours of a bunch of guys just arguing for completely imaginary situations.
for the most part.
But yes, you guys got anything? Last words before we end it?
Yeah,
Joe?
man. Enjoy the weekend. Premier League's back. A lot of, if you play soccer, it's back. I love this time of year, man. Right?
Yeah.
The weather's still nice. Enjoy the weekend. Everyone have a good one.
All right. Appreciate it. We will catch you guys in the next one.